Good evening, everybody. I hope you're all having a spooky time and you're ready for a spooky stream. Turn those lights out and gather under the blankets as we play through the next part of Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 5. How's everyone doing tonight? Hey, Shirley. Great to see you. Welcome to the stream. I hope Shion doesn't kidnap Satoshi or something either. Personally, I'm more worried that she's going to be trying to do something involving Satoko or potentially killing the aunt. So, we'll see. I kind of made my theories at the end of last stream, but I really do think that Shion is going to have some involvement with the aunt's death. That's going to drive Satoshi away, and that she's going to have a massive breakdown as a result of that. Which might be why she's kind of unstable in the current time period. But you never know until we actually get started. That's part of the fun. We get to make predictions, but then ultimately we got to figure out and see how they all unfold. And great to see you, Ruben. Welcome, welcome. Let's go. Oh, I should probably move the mouse. Yeah, this is better. Okay. Best title screen music ever. Just cicadas. It never gets old. Alright, so we're continuing Chapter 5. So we made it to the end of, I guess, Chapter 4 within Chapter 5. Based on the Steam achievements, I think there are 16 chapters within this part. So there are only 2 more Sundays left in October. Which means that if we keep up the current pace, we're only going to make it to Chapter 8, which is only halfway through. So how I think we're going to have to do it is I was planning on doing some one-off streams during the week. But I think we might just be playing Chapter 5 of Higurashi full-time now. So I think starting for the rest of the month, Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday will generally be Higurashi stream days. Because I want to make sure we can actually finish it by the end of the month. Having said that, if we can take it 3 chapters at a time per stream instead of just 2, we can probably get there a bit faster, so I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. But I am committed. I want to make sure we finish this before the end of the month. Also, I will not be streaming on Halloween itself. I normally do to finish up the Higurashi chapter, but I actually have plans with friends on Halloween. So, the day before Halloween is when we'll make sure we finish it up. So here we go. Oh, no, we're not loading a new game. We're loading the end of Chapter 4. Boom. Got a ladybug infestation, so you're ready for Shion going bonkers. Oh, boy. That's great, Shirley. And hello, welcome to the stream, X-Dude. Welcome, welcome. All right, we went for the tips. Let's continue on. How crazy is Shion going to get? Yes!
Hi.
Yes! It's Best Girl! Oh, let's go! Am I glad to see you, Sensei? I mean, teacher. I mean, Chia Pet. Oh, yes. She's so beautiful. For a moment, I forgot that the class president was me. Oh, Shion's taken her place.
起立。委員長も少し寝不足みたいですね。最近は寝苦しい夜が続きます。でも、しっかりと睡眠はとるように。
That's just good advice.
いいですね、皆さん。
I'm not sure this place can be called a school, because there are so many different age groups. It's like a kindergarten and an elementary school blended together, with 2 high schoolers. Since I'd heard already about what this place was like, I didn't feel that uncomfortable. It wasn't too difficult to act like Mio in here. Oh, he's so sad. As Sis told me, Satoshi-kun looked exhausted. I said hi to him, but he ignored me. Oh no, how sad for you. Since I knew what he'd been going through, his pain looked apparent to me. I was interested in another person in this classroom. Oh, really? Satoko, Satoshi-kun's little sister. She looked as worn out as Satoshi-kun, emotionless like an abandoned doll. Yikes. She's got those dead eyes. Oh, man! Ugh. Ugh. Her eyes are so expressive in the new style. I mean, I guess they're pretty expressive in all of them. But, ooh. We'll keep with the console style for now. Everybody in this room was aware of their circumstances, but no one could do anything for them. So they just acted as though nothing was wrong. Mion will only let me have this one day. If I slacked off even a little bit, today would be over with quickly. I had to figure out what I should do in this limited time. I should probably talk to Satoshi-kun. About what? Anything goes. Cheer him up, sympathize with him, anything will do. More than anything, I just wanted to chat with him. However, Sis had told me. She said Satoshi-kun didn't communicate much with her lately, and had distanced himself from her. I figured I shouldn't talk to him too casually. I wanted to, but maybe it was better to leave him alone. I needed to keep Sis's warnings in mind. But instead, I decided to ignore them. That's not going to work out for you. Oh wait, don't actually get to see her ignore them. I looked for Satoshi-kun during lunch break. He was walking as if looking for a place where he could be alone. I caught him in the hallway.
Satoshi-kun.
He turned around, startled by my voice. His facial expression surprised me. He was scowling, clearly a sign of rejection. That doesn't look like a scowl to me. They couldn't get a new sprite, but I couldn't hesitate. I'd lose my only chance if I did.
さ、元気?
He gave me a look as if saying, "Do I look fine to you?" I never expected to see an expression like that on his face. I felt like my heart was being torn into pieces. As I looked down, he spoke to me. I felt a little glad, but the next thing he said changed that.
元気だよ。他に用はないなら行くよ。昼休みは一人になりたいんだ。
そっか。バイトが大変なんだよね。疲れてるから一人になって休みたいもんね。今日もなんでしょ？今日はどこで？
Sis had found several jobs for him. He worked at a few different places. He was helping out when necessary at any of the shops Mion introduced him to. As a result, he constantly had to do different tasks in a different environment almost every time. On top of that, he requested high-paying jobs from Mion because he wanted a large sum of money as soon as possible. Okay, well hopefully he doesn't work for the Lethal Company. In other words, he chose to mostly do manual labor. He was exhausted every day because he wasn't that physically strong.
どこでもいいだろう。それに僕がどこで働くか。
Uh-oh.
ミオンなら知ってることじゃないの
You're
かい。
slipping, Shion. Wait, what if Satoshi is on Keiichi crazy? Could be. I mean, we did theorize that in the previous chapters, that he may have been the one who killed his aunt. If so, yeah, he might be going crazy. He doesn't have the reptile eyes, though. If he gets reptile eyes, then we'll know. Mion did help him get the job. Yet Satoshi-kun didn't look thankful for that opportunity. This wasn't like him at all. It made me feel sad.
そうだよね。
Keiichi was very cold and mean when he was going crazy. That's true. He was also acting super paranoid.
ごめん。
要はそれで終わりかい。
Also, Keiichi has gone crazy in every single chapter. It's just manifested itself in different ways. He sounded so harsh. Why was he being like that? Would he ever stroke my head again? That's what you care about, of course. I couldn't help my tears. They flowed onto my cheeks. Satoshi-kun looked confused for a moment, but then he frowned again.
ごめん。監督がさ、また練習に来てほしいなって言ってたよ。
Don't bring Coach back into this.
監督には戻る気はないし。
たまにはさ、パッと体を動かして汗を流すのもいい
She's
と思う
doing
んだよ。
manual labor jobs.
ほら、スポーツっていろいろと。
興味ない。
I didn't know why he was being so hostile towards me. Why did he hate me so much? I was left bewildered. He's kind of going for a lot right now.
なんで？どうして？
バイトで忙しいからめんどくさい。
違うよ。なんで私がここまで嫌われなくちゃならない
I
の？
feel like if you're not open that you're not Mion, this is not gonna go well.
自分の胸に聞けばいいじゃないか。
自分の胸に？
Did Mion not tell Shion about her family hating Satoshi? I feel like Shion would know that, just being familiar with the damn project history.
何を？私が何をしたの？わかんないよ、サトシ君。
I couldn't control my emotions any longer. Streaks of tears ran down my cheeks. Yep, there we go. Satoshi-kun gave me a hateful glare and walked away without saying another word. I couldn't even stop him. If I tried, he'd hurt me again with another cutting remark. Nothing he said was particularly cutting. Like, really. He's just being like, he's just shutting you down. I couldn't bear that, so I just watched him walk away. I wiped my tears and went back to the classroom. I heard somebody crying from inside. What's going on? I looked around the room to see. It was Satoko. I saw her bento box on the floor. I asked one of the classmates what happened, and it seemed that Satoko had bumped into somebody's shoulder when she stood up to go wash the box out. That was all. But Satoko was crying as if she was going to be chided badly. What happened was very minor. She could just pick up the bento box and things would be fine. It looked like the lid came a little loose, but it was definitely fixable. She didn't have to cry like that. Yeah, she's probably going through a lot too. Yet Satoko started begging through her tears. Yeah, her aunt is a piece of work, because I'm guessing her aunt is like flipping the F out if she does tiny mistakes like that. Because of what happened with Satoshi-kun, I couldn't suppress my emotions very well. So instead, they exploded. Uh-oh, she's about to lash out at Satoko. I stormed up to Satoko while elbowing her classmates aside. I grabbed her by the head, then threw her into the wall. Dear Lord! Main villain of the chapter. Satoko screamed. She didn't seem to understand what had happened. Wow! She was shredding tears and shivering. She must be wondering why I did that. You're just a jerk. Also, yeah, Satoshi ain't gonna like that. You're the worst.
なんであんたがそういう目に遭うか。
Satoko cried for her brother's help again. Yeah, but I don't think he's coming. Yikes. Yikes, this is terrible. And so, I grabbed her head and threw her again. Wow! How does this girl have any fans? Satoko stumbled and crashed into a desk. The desk fell and the contents of the drawer scattered about. Satoko didn't even stand up. She just crouched and trembled while looking up at me. Good luck explaining this one! No wonder Mion only gave you 1 day. She knows that you're gonna be a terror. If you weren't like that, Satoshi-kun wouldn't have to suffer. Don't you get it? Victim blaming again! That's what I wanted to say, but I was too angry to utter another word. I picked up a bunch of textbooks from the floor and threw them at her face. Shion, I'm like never going to sympathize with you. Like, this is completely unacceptable. Disgusting behavior. And textbooks are flippin' heavy! She's probably crying because you're throwing books at her face and shoving her face into the wall. And she's like 10! You dingus? Everybody is watching you do this, by the way, Shion, and they're gonna think Mion did it, and this is not gonna be good. Okay, nope. I'm hoping that Shion dies in this one. Language, Shion. Every sentence she says, by the way, she's throwing a new textbook at her face. Get the teacher in here! Yikes. Yeah, the console is not making her cry enough, given the, given the circumstances. Yikes. Her desperate cries only increased my irritation. Wow! Can the principal or the teacher just come in and be like, alright? I kept on throwing things at her. Wow! Satoko curled up to protect herself and cried even harder. At that point, a girl with long hair ran up and huddled over to her. Yeah, when you make Rika mad, You done screwed up real bad. Do you have any idea how patient Rika is? I knew who that was. Rika Furude. One of Satoko's only friends.
サトコをいじめないでなのです。サトコはかわいそうなのです。いじめてはダメなのです。
I don't care if she's not in a poor situation. What Shion is doing is completely inappropriate. Shion is like, what, 16, 15 maybe years old? And she's like beating the crap out of like a 10-year-old girl. And the 10-year-old girl, like, that's all you really need to know.
かわいそうだから何をしても許されると思ってる？かわいそうだからサトシ君に寄りかかってもいいわけ？甘やかしてるんじゃないよ。こいつがどこまでも甘えてるから。
Stop.
サトシ君が辛い思いをしなくちゃならないんだ。
Standing in the way of like a grown woman beating up a young girl is spoiling her. Screw off, Shion.
ダメなのです。サトコをいじめちゃダメなのです。
Rika also became the target of my anger.
私はね、その甘えきったサトコの根性を教育してやってる
No, you're unstable and unable to control your own emotions. You're in the wrong here.
邪魔しやがると、あんたの頭から叩き
You
割る
said
よ。
this in front of everybody. How is Mion going to brush this under the rug? Oh, that's right. She's a family of members with the Yakuza. I grabbed a chair and lifted it over my head. It wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt only a little if I threw this thing at them. What? The heck? She's the worst. Rika tightly closed her eyes and covered Satoko with her body. I didn't care what the consequences would be. That's a problem. I didn't care if I hurt them.
やめて。
Yes! Crazy Rena, please stop this.
みーちゃん。
Rena returned to the classroom and shouted at me. Then Satoshi-kun rushed in while pushing Rena aside. Oh, uh-oh. This ain't gonna go so well. Let's go back to console art style. Seeming to have grasped the situation immediately. He charged straight at me. Yeah! Justified! Until my body had hit the locker, I didn't even understand what had happened. There was a loud crashing noise. I'd left a dent in it. Yes, Satoshi! Let's go! I crouched there in pain. You deserve it.
サトコ！大丈夫か？サトコ！にーにー！にーにー！
Yeah, she's not okay. She already was having a bad day, and then she got beat up by a grown woman. Satoko pushed Rika aside, jumped at her brother, and started crying again.
どうしたんだよ。
Well, what you are not gonna believe this, Satoshi.
どうしてサトコが
私ね、何もしてないの。
That's true.
何もしてないのに。
Normally, Satoko is the instigator in this stuff. Not this time. This is all 100% Shion.
ミオンさんが。
どういうことだよ。
And then Shion's like, why does Sadachi hate me so much? I don't understand it. It must be Satoko's fault. No introspection. Satoshi-kun shouted at me while clutching his sister. He looked fierce.
どういうことって？
サトコが何をしたよ。
Yeah. Yeah, what did she do?
僕たちが何をしたよ。なんでいつもいじめられなきゃならないんだよ。どうしてだよ。
Oh, he released Satoko and rushed up to me, grabbing me by the neck. Yes, justified.
さっきサトシ君は私に自分の胸
Oh,
に
Shion,
聞け
don't
って言
even
ったよ
try
ね
to justify what you did.
ならサトコの胸に聞いてみりゃいいじゃない。
何を。
サトシ君だって自分で認めてるん
You
でし
don't
ょ。
know bleep.
サトコがあんたにべったり頼ってるからサトシ君の重荷になってるんでしょ。サトコがもっとしっかりしてればサトシ君がこんなに大変な思いをすることなんてない。そいつが全ての元凶
How
なの。
about... No. You know, everybody knows my feelings on this. Let's just keep reading. I don't believe what I said was wrong. This is why you suck! But after hearing it, Satoshi-kun went berserk. Yeah. Reptile eyes coming out.
いい加減なこと言うんじゃない。
いたいたたたたたたた。
Satoshi-kun grabbed my hair and threw me to the wall, just like I did to Satoko. Yeah! Let's give a big round of applause for Satoshi for standing up for his little sister. However, I wasn't going to back down. I no longer had any control over my emotions at all. Bold of you to imply you had any control over it prior to this moment.
サトシ君だってサトコを甘やかしすぎてるよ。あんたがそうやって際限なく甘やかすからそいつはいつまで経ってもあんたにすがってばかりなんだよ。
This is very reminiscent of when KG yelled at Mion in Chapter 1 and in Chapter 3. Ironically, he didn't yell at her in Chapter 2, which is the chapter that he probably should have. Although, I, again, definitely think it was Shion in Chapter 2.
お前に僕たちの何がわかる？何がわかるってんだよ！
How has no, like, faculty member heard the bedlam in this room?
父さんや母さん
Yeah!
村ぐるみで追い詰めてそして今度は僕たちが
Yeah!
それがそのザキ家のやり方なんだろ
Maybe this is why he wants to leave. He just hates their family.
どこまでも村の裏切り者をいじめ抜くそんなに楽しいかよ弱い者いじめがそんなに楽しいかよ
もうやめて。
This is one of the rare times where the massive, like, screaming actually works because it's a genuinely serious and emotional situation. That was Rena's voice. She stepped in looking as fierce as a demon.
サトシ君もうやめてあげて。
How have we gotten to the... Well, no. Actually, that's not true. Satoshi... I was about to say, how is Rena the voice of reason? But actually, no. I don't disagree with anything Satoshi's done up to this point. He and Rika are the real voices of reason. Satoko is too emotional for this. And Shion's just a bad guy here. Okay. We get... Ah! Okay. Satoshi looks a little too derpy in this art. Yeah. Oh, wait. Why? Okay. I actually really like Rena's art style in the OG style. I don't really get why it always looks like she's like picking stuff with like her thumb and her like pointer finger. Like, ooh, I must pick this off the plate because I do not eat the parsley on the dinner. Wow. Oh man. Okay, Rena looks pretty different in all three art styles, but I like it. Like I like all of the different art styles for Rena.
みーちゃんに悪気はなかった。
You know, that is technically true. Mion does not.
サトシ君の力になってあげたくて、その気持ちがちょっとずれて空回りしちゃっただけ。
No, I don't agree with that, actually.
ね。
Rena, don't. I get you're trying to de-escalate, but don't defend Shion here. She's just in the wrong. Satoshi-kun looked like he wanted to say something back, but he chose not to. Rena's only been here for 2 weeks, but we already know not to cross her.
みーちゃんももうやめて。みーちゃんが誰よりもサトシ君のことを心配してるのは知ってる。だけれど、こんなやり方はそれの解決にはならない。そんなのちょっと落ち着いて考えればわかることだよね。
I agree, Ruben. Like, yeah, it's not Mion and Shion's fault that the Hojos are persecuted by the village. However, Shion and Mion, I don't think are doing anything to really like stop that or like de-escalate it. Maybe they don't really have the authority to do that, but Shion's just making things worse. Since Satoshi-kun didn't say anything, I kept quiet too.
ほら、さとこちゃんもお弁当箱を落としたくらいで泣くことはないよ。ね。
I mean, she does, but she had a rough day. You had a bad day. Oh, you could barely even see her in that one. Why, Rena? Don't look so happy right now, okay? This is a very serious situation right here.
落ち着いた？さとこ、僕がお弁当箱を拾ってあげますよ。
Thank you, Rika. You can't. Rika looks a little odd in that art style. There we go. I don't think Satoku's just gonna walk off getting beat up by Shion, though. Rika started picking up the bento box while its owner continued to cry.
みんな、片付けを手伝ってくれる？
Meanwhile, all of the other elementary school kids just like watch this like, I don't want to go to school anymore.
もうすぐ先生がカレー菜園から戻ってくる頃だよ。
All it takes is one bad day. Pretty much. I think Shion's had quite a few bad days, though. Shion's anger is valid, she's just directing it at the wrong person. I guess, but if your anger is to the extent that you're, like, willing to beat up a kid, you probably need to control yourself.
これでもう喧嘩は終わったから、先生には余計なことは言わない。いいね。
The classmates looked at each other and nodded, then started picking up the stuff on the floor. Is no one gonna tell the teacher about this?
はい。サトシ君もミーちゃんも仲直りの握手。ほら。ごめん。こんなつもりじゃ。
Yes, you did.
なかったのに。
Don't lie. Tears started to roll down my cheeks again. Again, she's not sad because she said, I don't think I did anything wrong. She's not sad because she regrets what she did. She's sad that there's consequences.
僕も
She's the worst.
悪かった。
You have nothing to be sorry about, Sadashi.
僕たちがいじめられてるのは大人の都合で。
No, but she's not making it better.
ミオン、ごめん。
さあ、みーちゃんは次にさとこちゃんに謝る。はい。
I was fine with apologizing to Sadashi-kun, but I didn't want to apologize to her. Yeah! See? She doesn't regret what she did. But the situation wouldn't be settled otherwise, so I reluctantly apologized. I wouldn't accept this if I were you, Satoko. Satoko nodded, looking discouraged. After that, Rena let me go. My head ached, and so I held it with both hands. What was that? What did I do? I didn't want to use this precious time to fight, Sis had warned me. She told me that I shouldn't talk to Satoshi-kun just like that. What did I come here for? I shouldn't have come here if I knew this was going to happen. Stupid. You're stupid, Shion! I was overcome by emotions because I was so worried about Satoshi-kun. So when did things go wrong? Were they wrong from the beginning? I got into a fight with Satoshi-kun. This was totally the opposite of what I wanted. I regretted it. I hated myself for it. I couldn't blame myself enough. My world had been split apart. I wish the sky would fall and kill me. That is true. I agree. The story is very good, and it is believable that it's complicated situations that people are trying to make simple. It does make for good drama. It's just this. I'm a very. I'm pretty strong in my beliefs, so I tend to call things as they are. So if there's a complicated situation with a bunch of people with like different opinions and acting like really emotionally, I tend to like easily zero in on one person where I'm just like, yeah, like you're being stupid. Stop it. Like, why are you being stupid? So it's interesting. Sis sounded both amazed and confused. How much did you tell her? Did you tell her everything? You better, because she's gonna need to figure out how to smooth this over.
ただでさえ綿流しの直前でいろいろと忙しいってのに、シオンは話をさらにややこしくしてくれるな。
ごめん。
Sis tried to say something, but she stopped in the middle. After listening to a few complaints, I started telling her about everything that happened today. Sis had to pretend that the trouble I caused today was her responsibility, which must have been very taxing for her.
もう当分は入れ替わり近いわね。
No, not even for a while. You've lost your go-to-school privileges, Shion. You went to school one day and you beat up a 10-year-old.
シオン、あんた、ちょっとは私の迷惑を考えてほしいな。
それは。
Well, I'm glad my reactions are in some way entertaining. Sis had been sympathetic, but maybe I pushed her too far this time. Literally, you pushed her into a desk. Of course, she'd be hesitant to trade spots, considering what I did today. The atmosphere felt awkward, so we were both silent for a while.
仮にさ、もう一回機会があったとして、シオンはどうするの？
Oh, I'd definitely beat up Satoko again. That was a reasonable question. I wasn't prepared to answer, though. If I had the chance to go to school once again and see Satoshi-kun, what would I do? Would I apologize to him about today? I don't think that would work. That might even upset him again, no matter how hard I tried. Okay, here's something that he was saying. It was the Sonozaki family who had been harassing his. It would only be natural for him to hold a grudge against us. But why was he only expressing that now? Well, based on what you know, I've been a Sonozaki to him all along. Satoshi-kun stroked my head even though he knew I was Mio and Tsunezaki.
おねえ、率直なところ、サトシ君は園崎家を恨んでるんだよね。
That's possible.
だと思う。
That would be very reasonable. It was our family that initiated the persecution of the Hojo family, making them into scapegoats. Even after the dam conflict, it wasn't easy for the Hojo family to live in Hinamizawa. Given all of that, it's not surprising that Satoshi-kun hates us, the Sonozaki family who put his family in a devastating situation.
でもさ、だったらなんで今頃になってなの？
She's like, he hasn't.
なんで今頃になってこうなるの？それなら
If he had rejected me in the first place, I wouldn't have wanted to get close to him. My tears wet my cheeks. I didn't bother to wipe them. It's only natural for him to hold a grudge against the Sonozakis. There's nothing unusual about it. Rather, why has he been treating me like a friend? I knew how stupid this question was.
サトシが大人だったからとしか言えないと思う。
Something that you're not, Shion.
そんなのってひどいよ。
He'd been treating me as a friend because he was mature, but now that he'd become stressed mentally and physically, he's decided to reject me. No matter how hard I thought about it, I couldn't find anything to fault him with. If there were somebody to blame, it'd be somebody I'd never accused before.
なんで鬼ババはサトシ君の一家をいじめようって言い出したわけ？
Well, we needed a scapegoat.
ダムに賛成したのはサトシ君の親でしょ？サトシ君が賛成していたわけじゃないでしょ？なんで一家丸ごといじめようって話にな
Yeah,
ったの？
but shame and honor culture in the East tends to flow down to family members as well.
どうしてよ？
Mion couldn't say anything in return. Actually, it wasn't at all hard to guess the reason. The hag didn't give any specific order to harass the Hojo family. She just thought the Hojo family was getting in the way. The people around her noticed that what was bothering her and took steps to get rid of it. Though, of course, she must have known how influential her own words were. She didn't just think it. She gave what she must have known would be interpreted as an order. She's the one to blame for initiating the attack on the Hojo family. Yeah, Granny doesn't seem like a very nice character.
前にお姉はフルデの神主さんのことを和を乱すのは大人じゃないみたいなことを言いましたよね。つまりこれもそういうわけ。村中が団結しなきゃならない時に異を唱える北条家は大人じゃなかったと。だから制裁する必要があったと。そういうわけなんでしょ？
Mion couldn't say anything in return, meaning that my accusation was the truth.
なら制裁は北条の親だけで十分じゃない。本家の拷問室にでも連れ込んで指の一本も跳ねてやったらいい。でもそこまでで十分でしょ？サトシ君は関係ない。
It's very weird how nonchalantly they bring up that they have a torture room in the garden.
サトシ君には何の関係もない。
Like, why does that exist?
サトシ君が何をしたっていうの？サトシ君に何の罪があるっていうの？答えてよ。答えてよ、ミオン。ミオン。
はい。ではよろしくお願いいたしますね。失礼いたします。
Mion suddenly changed her tone and hung up. She must have done that to escape from my questions. I was furious. I started redialing the number, but then I remembered that we decided to hang up the phone after using that phrase when she saw the hag coming. I doubted she actually saw the hag, but it was the rule, so I couldn't call back for a while. I went to the bathroom to wash my face and cool down. I turned on the faucet. The water felt lukewarm. It didn't help me cool down at all. I'm disgusted by my own childishness. I wanted to fill my void. I didn't care about him, considering that Satoshi-kun was very generous, but I don't know if I can forgive Satoko. That's a different story. Notebook page 26. You are such an... Ugh! Higurashi when they cry. I'm digging the piano music in this, though. I was looking up at the ceiling with my arms and legs spread out. It's not that I wasn't getting hungry. I didn't live with my parents. I didn't live in the school dorm. That meant I had to cook something myself when I wanted to eat. Welcome to being an adult, Shion. I knew that, but I still didn't feel like getting up. It had been several days since I began this empty life. It must be tomorrow. The Watanagashi festival, I mean. Ooh! I heard the doorbell ringing. Ding dong. Did somebody order Binky the Clown for the birthday party? Happy birthday, happy birthday. I ignored it at first, but it run persistently. Oh, it's definitely Binky the Clown. I started hearing knocking alongside Kasai's rude voice.
シオンさん、いらっしゃるなら開けてください。弁当を買ってきました。
What a bro! I didn't ask him to. He must have known that I hadn't eaten enough and had been feeling down lately.
やはり食事を取られていませんでした。
You haven't eaten. Gritting my teeth. The ultimate Uber Eats. Oh, bro, he looks kind of derpy in this style. I want to see his mouth animate though.
別にお腹が空いてるわけじゃない。
He's like a rectangle, like a perfect rectangle in this art style. And his face is a perfect rectangle too. But when Kasai put the food on the table, my stomach reacted in a very primitive way by making some noise.
ほら、お腹が鳴っている。
His mouth just...
食べた方がいいですよ。
I was hungry, but had no appetite. I mean, I did have an appetite, but didn't have the energy to eat. Yet I'd feel bad about wasting the food Kasai had brought. You can't wait for your Keiichi prediction. Satoshi roomed the same thing in Chapter 3. Well, maybe. We'll see. We'll see. This character sprite just ain't it. No. No. This looks so much better. And he's got the skull tied, too. He looks awesome. Picked up my chopsticks just to humor him.
最近はばあさんがマークしてるんじゃなかったの？私のとこなんかに来て大丈夫なわけ？
おりょうさんは綿流しの打ち合わせなどでお忙しく、シオンさんのことまでは最近は頭が回らないようでしたので、クリームコロッケは好物ではありませんでしたか？
うん。美味しいです。ありがとう。
While I nibbled on the food, Kasai read through the magazines I bought.
カサイは
This is the worst issue of Lego magazine I've ever read. I'd never talked to Kasai about something like this before. Since I've always believed myself superior to him psychologically, I hesitated to show my weaknesses to him.
そういう悩みも年頃にしておくのは悪いもんじゃありませんよ。
カサイ、あんた全部知ってる？
ミオンさんから少々力になってほしいと頼まれました。
Really?
お姉か。
I love the double-breasted suit he has. I want a double-breasted suit myself, but I don't have it in the budget right now.
心配しておられましたよ、ミオンさん。
Without responding, I threw the last croquette on my mouth.
北条聡君の近況を知りたがっていると思いま
I've
し
been
て、
stalking him.
少し情報を集めてきましたが、余計なお世話でし
This
た
is
か。
a posh room.
余計なお世話です。でもせっかく集めてきたカサイの顔を立てるために、
Real
ま
subtle,
あ一応聞い
Shion.
ておきます。
Kasai chuckled, but stopped quickly as if thinking it rude.
北条哲平が家を出たらしいです。
Ooh.
沖宮に実婚の関係の女性がいまして、そこへ転げ込んだよう
Okay,
で
if
す。
the uncle's not there, that makes it a little bit better.
てっぺい？誰？ああ、サトシ君のおじか。
You want the ottoman? Yeah.
家には叔母の北条玉江と北条聡、聡子の3人と
The
なりまし
aunt's
た。
name is Tamei. Well, that is ironic because Tamei is definitely not tame.
玉江は哲平が別の女性のところへ逃げたのだと気づき、大層機嫌を悪くしたらしいです
To be
ね。
fair, Tepe fleeing and living with another woman is a direct upgrade because of what a scumbag he is. But yeah, no, I get that. If she actually likes the guy, she's just he's cheated on me with his mistress. I hate kids even more now.
ってことはあれだ。ますます叔母の里子いびりが加速して、サトシ君もそれのとばっちりで、ますますに苦労してるってことか。
I really find it hard to believe that their life is worse when the uncle is not living at their house. The uncle was terrible. The uncle was so bad that like Keiichi killed him. And like I was kind of okay with it. Do you have any idea how bad you have to be for that to be the case? Oh, heck no. Why is there a bug right on my mouse? That's a big old spider. Mm-hmm. Hey, Spider-Man. Spider-Man ain't getting out of there.
サトシ君の方は分かりませんが、サトコさんの方は近所でも噂になるくらい決して良くはない状況です。
If Satoko looks miserable, that means Satoshi-kun must be going through equally miserable torture.
そのおばってなんとかならないの？
Yeah, why did Teppei return in Chapter 3? Did they actually explain why, or I'm just stupid, or is this still a mystery?
憎き北条家の傍ら
Can't
の
you,
わけ
like,
だから
take her out Yakuza
その
style?
先本家で制裁しちゃおうって話にはなってないの？
Oh, no, Spiders aren't that big of a deal for me. So there are like 3 different sizes of spiders I've seen in my house. Like, the tiny one's not even a problem. I'll often leave them alive if they're just hanging out in a corner because they eat other bugs. There are some bigger ones that are getting in that are like, okay, I gotta deal with this. There was one, I saw a huge one on the ceiling once that was like, okay, even I'm kind of freaked out about that one. But spiders, nah, I'm used to them. She's one of the remaining Hojos after all. The uncle is gone, so why not the aunt?
園崎本家としては北条夫妻の事故死で一応のけじめがついたので、北条関連では一切手を出すなと言命が出ています。夫妻の事故死を疑う警察が北条家近辺を未だマークしているという噂がありますので。
事故死はお社様のたたりってことになってるからね。神罰が下ったんならそれ以上は人間が下すまでもないってこと。
Kasai put on a faint smile. Come to think of it, it is hard not to suspect the involvement of the Sonozaki family in all of the incidents said to be Oyashiro-sama's curse. Somebody strives to get rid of the hag's concerns on the day of the Watanagashi festival. Furthermore, the Watanagashi festival is going to be held tomorrow. Will the curse strike again this year? If so, who will be the victim? Now that I think about it, there were cases of multiple victims in the past. The first and third year it was just one, but the second year the victims were a couple. So it wouldn't be too strange if 2 people fell victim this year. It seems like a good time. It'd be best for Satoko and her aunt to be the victims. What the butts? Why? Okay, even by your own logic, the reason why you hate Satoko is because she's not standing up to her aunt and Satoshi is taking the indirect blows. If just the aunt was the victim, Satoko wouldn't be a problem anymore. No, she's the worst. She just actually hates the kid and wants her to die, just so she can have Satoshi to herself. My gosh, she's the worst. Satoshi-kun will be freed from every source of his worries all at once. Yeah, because he clearly doesn't care about his little sister at all, despite what you saw literally yesterday.
葛西、今年のお社様のたたりの犠牲者は誰かって。
She really is just acting like they're the ones responsible for it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but that seems too obvious. He's like, what?
決めるのはばあさん？ならお姉は明日の犠牲者をもう知ってるってことになるな。どうなの葛西？何か聞かされてる？
シオンさん、私はその件については一切聞かされていません。
まあそりゃそうか。火災ごときの耳に本家の最高機密が入るわけもないか。
そういうことです。少なくとも私の関係する界隈ではそういう話は降りてきていません。ですが、ご存知の通り、本家は裏の世界の方々に通じます。
Why are we getting a gentle music box theme when Shion is literally talking about like called out murders?
私にはその一部を垣間見ることも叶
They're
いま
like,
せん。
she's making a hit request and it's like, this is gentle. Maybe I could try asking Sis about it. But she won't talk. She's strict about keeping promises, unlike me. If the hag told her to keep it a secret, she'd take it to her grave.
今年の綿流しでおばとさとこが消えちまえばいいのに。
Why Satoko? He's like, oh man, I'm working for the bad guy, aren't I?
葛西、私は憂慮したよ。気を利かせてくれると嬉しいんですけ
You
ど。
are the worst!
シオンさん、ご冗談を。
わーってるって言ってみただけだって。
No, you're not. I took a glimpse at Kasai. It didn't look like he was actually going to do something to make my wish come true. Because that's a terrible wish! I wasn't able to get into the village as myself. So I definitely wasn't going to the festival. I didn't care about that. Even so, I was interested in who was going to end up as the victim of the curse. If I just kept lying on this couch playing hooky, somebody would fall victim in several hours. I had no clue why it had to happen every year, but I was certain that the hag was behind it. All the enemies from the dam conflict had been punished. Only the Hojo couple was left, since most of the other enemies had already gone. You highly doubt the Sonozakis are behind the curse? I think there's... Well, okay. Because here's the problem. We already know that, what's her name? Takano killed her boyfriend. Like, and faked her own death. She was responsible for, like, the current year one. So it's probably a couple different things that are... But the fact that it's all coincidence... I think the first, like, maybe one or two was a case of, like, the same person. But then each new year, it's like, well, since this is already an established pattern, I guess I'll kill this guy. Then they'll just think it's the curse. Or it could be actually some demonic stuff happening. The cicadas were crying loudly outside. It made me feel hot. If they aren't, who do you think it is? Like, for this... Okay, because again, we kind of already know for the modern day that it was Takano. For this year, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Shion. For the previous years... For the first year for the foreman, it was either, like, Oreo, the Sonozakis were, like, behind it, or they were indirectly behind it, where they're like, man, it sure would be great if this guy was gone. Or it was just some rogue element in, like, Hinamizawa, who was like, yeah, we're gonna kill him, because we don't want to lose the town. The year that the Sotoko's parents died, that I'm not too sure about. Because we don't have a whole lot of details on the circumstances of that one. Same with the Rika's parents. So, yeah. Not enough information to make an informed decision. Why was it this hot and humid in June? Well, it is Japan. If Oyashiro-sama was actually punishing people, I'd pray for one thing. I'd pray that the evil aunt would be punished. And I'd offer up Satoko as a sacrifice. Yes, of course you would, because you're a vile person. Hot. It's hot. Shion, you are really, really competing for Yuji Kazumi as the most unlikable visual novel protagonist. And it's close. And this is after the absurdly messed up thing that Yuji did. When I woke up, Kasai had already gone. Looks like he's cleaned the table in the surrounding room. He put my dirty laundry into the hamper in front of the washing machine, too. Being a girl of a sensitive age, I didn't want a man to clean my room. Well, I'd rather thank him than badmouth him. I looked at the clock. It was late afternoon. I had to go grocery shopping. There was nothing left in the fridge. And I'd be having just rice for dinner if I didn't go. I mean, yeah, that's probably a problem. At that moment, the phone rang. It must be Kasai, I thought. I did hope it was him. He could have brought more food. Then I wouldn't have to go shopping. But while I was just being lazy, I didn't feel like going out at all. But if it wasn't Kasai on the phone.
おねえ、そこどこ?
She's like, so you put a hit out on the aunt and Satoko?
本家じゃない?
あ、うん。公衆電話からかけてる。だから手短に話すよ。サトシから電話が来たんだよ。
Ooh.
サトシくんが? おねえに?
多分、私にじゃないと思う。シオンにだと思う。サトシは先日の教室での件を謝りたがってるみたいだった。だから、その電話はシオンが受けた方がいいと思って。
Oh, is she forwarding the call?
サトシの電話は、今ちょっと忙しいからすぐかけ直すって言って。
Oh.
だからシオンは、今から私が言う電話番号に電話してあげて。
That's smooth, Mion. Also, Shion does not deserve this.
わかった。
I was stunned for a second, but then recovered and wrote down the number on the back of a magazine.
ありがとう。すぐに電話
I have Satoshi's phone number. What did you do? What did you do, Mion? You just gave a crazy person the phone number of her stalker crush.
そうしてあげて。サトシは最近、すごく追い詰められてるの。私の声はもう届かないみたいだけど、シオンの声なら、 ひょっとすると届くかもしれないって何の根拠もなく思ってる。
She could have pretended to be me and handled this call, but she passed it over to me.
ありがとうミオ。
じゃあね、シオン。
Before she hung up, I put the handset down. Then after a second, I dialed the number in a flash. This woman is obsessed. I heard the dial tone 3 times, 4 times, and there he was.
北条です。
He sounded like an adult. His voice sounded a bit tired too, but it was definitely the voice I loved. I got scared. I was scared that he might become sulky again if I mentioned my name. I couldn't open my mouth for a while.
サトシくんですよね。
さっきはごめん。もう時間は大丈夫なの。
One thing I'm still trying to wonder. Because the first 3 chapters are basically like alternate timelines of the current day. Chapter 4 was a flashback, and I'm assuming chapter 4 is like, hey, this happened in the past in all of the timelines. But maybe that's not right. And similarly, this one is a year flashback. I'm wondering if this flashback is also going to be like canon for all of the timelines, or if this is like a unique timeline itself. Because if it's the former, I'm trying to think in the back of my head how the events of this chapter are going to shape Shion into the person that she was in chapter 2. Where she was like trying to get with Keiichi, but then also like killing people. She killed Rika and Satoko. I mean, actually, I can see why she would do that, because she hates Satoko. Rika would probably protect her, and she probably doesn't like Rika either because she's friends with Satoko. I am wondering, though, why she, like, kidnapped the mayor of the village and killed him, and why she was kidnapping, presumably, Keiichi and killing him, too, because I don't believe that was Mion. It's interesting. That was the Satoshi-kun I knew. He didn't sound cold like the other day.
全然平気です。
He's gonna ask Shion to take Satoko to the festival. That would be an interesting callback to Chapter 3. After that, he went silent. I felt the urge to start a conversation. It wasn't fair. He was the one who called in the first place. Then, he finally spoke.
先日は
You have... No! No! Satoshi! You don't apologize if you didn't do anything wrong.
私こそごめんなさいで
You
す。
say that, Shion, but we know SMFO.
ミオンは謝らなくていいよ。僕が
No, you weren't! Oh, this is the worst! If this were a face-to-face conversation, he would be stroking my head. It was sad just talking to him over the phone.
僕は僕たちをここまで追い込んだ奴らを絶対に許しはしない。
But under that, surely, if it was Shion, she was probably jealous that Mion had Keiichi while she didn't have Satoshi. I don't think that's the case, though, because I think most of the romantic scenes in Chapter 2 were Keiichi and Shion, not Mion. Because he was meeting her, and she's like, yeah, I'm Shion. And he's like, oh, this is Mion. And she's just pretending to have a twin sister, but then she actually did have a twin sister, which was crazy. And on top of that, even if that's the case, wouldn't it make more sense for her to kill Mion and then be like, I have you all for myself? Then again, that's also assuming that Shion is a rationally thinking human being, which he's not. Honestly, you'd ship these two if they were in different circumstances. Would Shion be different if not for her upbringing, or would she still be the same? I mean, definitely she wouldn't be exactly the same. She certainly has been shaped by her upbringing. However, I think there are certain elements of her personality that are just gonna be there regardless.
そいつらはでも
He's talking about his remarks for them persecuting, or she persecuting the family. He's not necessarily talking about, like, I was in the wrong for being mad at you for shoving my sister into the locker.
だから僕は君にだけは謝ろうと思って。
気にしないで。私だってサトシ君のことをよく理解しようともせず無神経だった。
You know what would be interesting? Is if it covers the previous year and then it shows Shion's perspective during Chapter 2. That could be an interesting one. We apologized to each other a few times.
それよりサトシ君 大丈夫？
Excuse me. They got. Oh wait, no. I bet that is what it's going to be. I bet we're going to get chapter 2 from Shion's perspective because this is the answer arcs. So this will kind of give us some of the answers that we had for chapter 2, which is good because chapter 2 I think confused me. No, chapter 3 confused me the most.
いろいろと大変なのに、聡子の誕生日プレゼントのためにアルバイトまでして、だいぶ追い詰められてるんじゃない？もう
バイトはやめたよ。目標額のお金は
Ooh.
なんとか貯められたみた
Are
いだ
you
から
trying to
ね
get a smoker too?
そうなんだ。ならもう体を無理させなくていいんですね。本当によかった。
Satoshi-kun tried to say something, but he dropped it instead.
僕より聡子の方が
Yeah, that's true.
辛い。
Shion's like, I don't want to talk about your sister. I hate her.
聡子大変なことになっていますね。
Oh, wow. That probably caused her physical pain to say those words.
大丈夫なんですか？
あれが大丈夫なように見えるのかよ。
Yeah! You idiot! He suddenly sounded upset. I don't know why! I'd messed up.
ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。
I was so stupid. I had ruined this miraculous conversation with him. Satoshi-kun didn't respond to my apology, so I stopped apologizing.
あんなに誰が見てもわかるくらいに傷ついてボロボロで
You think Satoshi's going to play ball? But he doesn't have a baseball, so he's using his aunt's head? Possibly.
見捨てた。どこ？
見捨てたつもりなんて。
Yes, you did? I tried to calm him down. I hated what I just said because of how hollow it sounded. I had no idea what to say next. I felt guilty. Satoshi-kun was desperate to protect Satoko from their evil aunt. But I'd wished that Satoko would die tomorrow because of the curse. I was trampling on his desperate hope.
聡子はもう擦り切れる直前なんだ。だから
He cut himself off in the middle and went quiet for a moment. He must have been choosing his words carefully. Then he finally spoke. His words sounded hollow.
だからせめて一夜くらい遊ばせてやりたいんだ。
That's really nice.
遊ばせるって。
ほら明日は綿流しのお祭りじゃない
This
か。
makes you love Keiichi's relationship with Satoko in Chapter 3. I'm glad that he, tried to look out for her. However, it's pretty clear by the end of the chapter she was not happy for what he did. I mean, she literally pushed us off a bridge. Although for some reason that made us so we were the only one who didn't die. Chapter 3's ending, I still was like, ugh.
聡子を祭りに連れ出してやってほしいんだ。
それは構わないけど。
Yep.
どうして？
Yeah. Oh, this is exactly like Chapter 3 with Keiichi being like, hey, can you guys take Satoru to Watanagashi? I got a thing. Kill somebody. No wonder everybody knew he did it. They're like, this is exactly what happened last year. It's like, okay, I know I bring it up too much. It's like that episode of Arthur where Binky goes to the world of tomorrow 2 years in a row because he got held back in 3rd grade. He's just like, the trip is exactly the same. All the same plot points happen.
聡子もいろいろと参ってる。たとえ一夜でもおばさんのいないところで羽を伸ばせたならきっと喜ぶと思うんだ。
だからどうして？
どうしてって。
It's not that I didn't understand why he wanted her taken to the festival. What I didn't understand is why he was asking me to do that. Was there any reason he couldn't take her there himself? I had a hunch that he might disappear, so I kept asking.
どうしてって何が
Just
ない。
do it!
どうしてサトシ君が自分で連れて行ってあげないの？
Does that mean that Keiichi was on the phone with Shion? Because Mion told Keiichi about it like Satoshi spoke to her? Maybe. Very possible. He fell silent. Satoshi-kun isn't good at lying or keeping secrets. It was clear that he wanted to hide something.
用事だよ。
You just said you quit your job.
僕明日は ちょっとバイトの関係で用
Oh
事があっ
wait,
て
never mind. He has like 5 jobs.
どうして
So
も祭りに
no,
は
this
行け
still
ないん
works.
だ
He was lying, but he was also stubborn. He wouldn't admit it if I accused him.
ねえミオン、明日の夜だけサトコを頼めないかな。
I wouldn't want to look after Satoko even at Satoshi-kun's request. See? Yeah, like she hates his little sister. Like this is not going to work because Satoko and Satoshi have a good relationship. So if you're like, I love Satoshi, but I hate Satoko, it's like, yeah, that's not going to work out. Because I guess what, if you're like, Satoshi, you have to decide, it's me or your sister. He's going to pick his sister. And then you're going to be like, how dare you? And then kill everybody. But I'm also glad that he's relying on me.
あれだけの暴言を
Also, I like how
ぶつけて
she forgets Mio would be the one to take her to the festival.
こんなことを頼むなんて悪いことだとは思ってるけど、ミオンだけが頼りなんだ。
I didn't know what to say. I did know, though, that I wasn't going to turn down his request.
わかった。明日の晩だけだよ。
Why do you think that Satoko would want to go with Mion after she got beaten up?
できたら明日の晩だけじゃなく、これから
何言ってるんですか？そんなの
She said,
嫌で
nope!
す。
I hate her.
明日だけですからね。
He sounded as if he were going to disappear tomorrow. I didn't like the sound of that, so I intentionally sounded sulky. Yeah, that'll make him change his mind. We talked about trivial stuff for just a little while. When the conversation was almost over, Satoshi-kun asked something else.
ねえミオン、こんなことを話すと
Ooh.
きっと精神的に病んでるって思われるんで。
Now, is Satoshi actually crazy with reptile eyes, or is he just desperate?
どうしたんですか？
ミオンは信じないよね。
Oh my gosh, he's actually saying it.
何をですか？
ほら、
And remember, he's been hearing Oyashiro-sama.
お社様のたたり。
Of course not! Who would?
サトシ君、何の話ですか？
お社様は確かほら
Kasai, could you please stop practicing the sleigh bells in the corner over there?
逃げ出そうと
Sorry.
するとたたるでしょ。
That's the rule. Every kid in the village knows that.
どうしたんです？突然。村を捨てて逃げようとでもしてるんですか？
Though I was kidding, I wanted him to deny it.
もうそんな気はないんだ。もう
Anymore. He admitted that he had thought of it. I guess Rena told me that much.
いいじゃないですか。もうそんな気がないのなら。
I didn't say that.
でもまだ許
Ooh.
してもらえないんだ。
Rena spreading Oyashiro-sama's story like pamphlets. She's very obsessed with that story, which is interesting.
え？
Satoshi-kun tried to say something, but hesitated. He was breathing so heavily. Was he sick?
具合悪いの？
ごめん。そういうわけじゃないんだ。
サトシ君は少し頑張りすぎたから少し休んだ方がいい
Yeah,
で
he's
す。
got to practice his swing for tomorrow. He sounded distinctly more sickly from the conversation when this conversation had started. He breathed heavily when punctuating his words. Satoshi-kun repeated his question.
ミオン、最初の質問を。ミオンはお社様のたたり
Oh,
って
give us a choice.
存在すると
Give
思
us a
わない
choice. What did he want me to say? Could I make him feel relieved of my answer? How should I respond? The answer was simple.
たたりなんて。
Oh, I thought it would give us the option to be like, there's a curse. There's no curse. That would have been great. I didn't know what was bothering him, but I wanted to make him feel better by laughing his worries away. But Satoshi-kun instead fell silent. But here's my question. Well, shoot. We only went to school one day. This means, I think, for the last week or so, Satoshi has been going to school with his baseball bat, just kind of swinging it around, practicing for this. Because I remember when Keiichi in Chapter 1 had his baseball bat like at all times because he's like, everyone's trying to kill me. They're like, why do you have the bat? This is just like when Satoshi was like disappeared. He also did the same thing. But Satoshi-kun instead fell silent. Would my answer make him happy? Or maybe sad? I couldn't tell. One thing was certain. I didn't make him feel any better.
変なことを聞いてごめん。
ごめん。
I felt like I let him down, so I apologized in a rush.
たたりだろうと、この村の何者かの陰謀だろうと、僕は絶対に消えない。消されない。
Starting to think it would have been better if Shion just stayed at the nunnery.
消えないよ、サトシ君は。
消えないよ、サトコに。
Teddy
あの
bear.
ぬいぐるみを買ってやるまではね、もうすぐお給料がもらえることになる。
I have a great way to get the money. Someone put a hit out on my aunt.
その日までは絶対に
If I
消え
do
な
it,
い。
I'll be rich. He chuckled. I knew he was trying to relieve me, but it worked the opposite way. He sounded as though he didn't care what would happen after he bought the teddy bear. This is, I feel like they maybe could have done a bit more with the music here, but, you know, it works.
おばさんが帰ってきたからもう切るよ。
うん。
ミオン、
何？
You want to answer your own question? Mion cleaned the bar to help Satoshi's alibi? What do you mean cleaned the bar? Even though he wanted to hang up the phone because of his aunt coming back, Satoshi-kun took a breath to tell me something important.
サトコのこと頼むからね。
I should have said yes right away, but I still couldn't forgive Satoko. You're the worst. So I just kept quiet.
変なこと頼んでごめん。じゃ
She's
あ
gonna be like, okay, I will forget to take care of Satoko.
Uh.
He was obviously disappointed. What had I done? You had been a butt. I wanted to apologize. I wish I could. See, apologies don't work if you're not actually sorry. Oh, bat. Okay, that makes more sense. I'm like, the bar? What bar? Satoshi's too young to go to the bar, even in Japan. But it was too late. The dial tone left no doubt. Now that was depressing. Oh boy, he's about to play ball, everybody. He hands up the phone, he's like, grabs the baseball bat, his aunt's like, this house is a mess! And then Satoshi's just like, getting ready to swing. And actually, you know what? Where is it? Where is it? I'm gonna say, in honor of what Satoshi is about to do. Where is it? Come on. Why is it so hard to look up? Yeah. Satoshi's about to play ball. Sorry, guys. I had to. Maybe a bad taste, but I thought it was funny. The dial tone left no doubt. That was depressing. New tips unlocked. A torn diary. Where did you go? Plea ignored. Listen to someone's desperate request. And it's got a baseball bat as the icon. That's fitting. A torn diary. All right. We get to see more of Shion's inner thoughts that she's too ashamed of to say out loud. So, geez Louise. We can only assume how bad these are going to be. Somebody whispered to me from behind. This is good music. They told me that I was going to be the victim of the curse this year, so I'm going to disappear soon. There will be nobody left to take care of Satoko. Oh no, this is Satoshi's diary. Somebody whispered to me from behind. They told me that I don't have much time, that I won't stay as myself for much longer. So I had to make the best of the days I had left. What could I leave for Satoko? She wanted that huge teddy bear. She wanted a peaceful life in which nobody would bully her. I whispered to the person at my back. Bestow your violent nature and formidable strength upon me. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is definitely making me think there's an actual demonic presence here. I want your peaceful mind filled with hatred. Oh boy. Well. Oh, let's go. Things are getting interesting now. Backyard baseball custom player idea. Satoshi. Would he be really good or would he be really bad? Or would he be like Charlie Brown, where he could be Ivor? That would be interesting. Let's go. So Satoshi is in a cult now, apparently. The day of the Watanagashi Festival. June 20th, 1982, 1:40 p.m. What was I doing today? Oh, that's right. I'm practicing my tribal drum skills. Nothing in particular. Nothing at all. I just wanted to play hooky. Did you at least tell Mion? Like, hey, Satoshi wants you to take Satoko to the festival, or you just like, screw Satoko, I don't care. I woke up in the afternoon. Yeah, I agree. The siblings' lives are a huge tragedy. It goes back to the old saying, every child deserves a parent. Not every parent deserves a child. I ate instant food for lunch while watching boring TV programs. I had a light headache, so I lay down on the sofa. I wouldn't wake up again if I went to sleep. Whatever. I decided to sleep. I'd already told Sis that Satoshi-kun had asked her to look after Satoko. Okay, at least she did that. I didn't have to do anything myself. I fell asleep, though my head was aching a little bit. That would be all I'd have to deal with. June 20th, 1982, 5:02 p.m. The aunt believed that all of the villagers frowned upon her because her brother-in-law and his wife were the pro-dam activists. Okay. Oh, okay. So the aunt is... Wait. No. So the aunt is not biologically related to Satoko's parents at all. Or Satoko and Satoshi. She, Teppei, I guess. So Teppei is the brother of either their mother or the father. Oof. That's rough. Oh boy. She surely experienced some fallout during the time of the dispute. But people had stopped looking coldly upon her, even though she assumed otherwise. She was paranoid, believing that all the villagers hated her. Well, they probably do, but not because of the damn stuff. And so, she decided to hate them back. Her attitude, of course, begot hatred from the villagers. And the situation became exactly the way she thought it was from the start. That's how miserable people be. What came first, their poor relationships with the neighbors or her husband's affair? She didn't know herself. Her husband claimed that he got a lover because he was fed up with her attitude. I mean, he's also just a tool. She, in turn, claimed that their relationships with the neighbors went sour because her husband had damaged their reputation. I'm pretty sure it's because you both are terrible people. Only Satoshi was aware that both happened at almost the exact same time. The quarrels had become a daily routine now. When the husband came home late, the wife would shout at him from the entrance. Satoshi wondered why they didn't get a divorce, their marriage being as rotten as it was. But he secretly knew the reason for that, too. It was the fortune his parents had left. Oh no. The aunt had hidden their bank book and stamp and never allowed her husband access to them. Oh, and she's not even the one who is related to them. Oh, she sucks. She doesn't suck quite as much as the uncle does. But, oh man, she's awful. You get paranoia. You get paranoia. Everybody gets paranoia. Exactly. So her husband would search the house for them. She'd find out he stole some money from her purse. This is why the house is a dump. And they don't clean. This would cause yet another fight. I don't support adultery of any kind. If you're going to cheat, at least break up with your spouse first. But in this case, like, I at least understand why the uncle was, like, having an affair. It sounds like this was not a very loving marriage at all. Satoshi had never been aware that his parents had had that much money when they were alive. After their death, however, one of his relatives told him. He was informed that his parents had left a huge sum of money in some bank account. Satoshi couldn't understand why they had that kind of money because his family had been, as far as he knew, poor. Yeah, but they also invested big in crypto. And this was back in 82, so, you know, it's gonna inflate. Isn't it when Teppei got mad looking for the money in Chapter 3? When wasn't Teppei mad in Chapter 3? It was because of the dam project. It's funny because, like, wordplay. It could be the dam project or that dam project. It's funny. His parents probably got the money in return for their cooperation with the government. Oh, no. So, really what they did is they stole money from everybody else, because the government doesn't get money on its own. They tax money. They had strived to get more villagers on their side, provided information to them and whatnot. The money was probably compensation for their efforts. His aunt and uncle never had any intention to adopt them until they heard about the money. Ugh. After someone from some financial institution revealed its existence, they appeared to adopt Satoko and Satoshi. The couple would fight every day. Eventually, Satoshi's uncle started spending more time at his mistress's home because he couldn't find the money. Ooh, the money. He realized he had no reason to return to his own home because he'd just end up in a fight with his wife if he did. Yeah, he's like, screw this, I'm not doing this. I don't agree with what he does, but... When he stopped coming home, Satoshi felt relieved. Neither their uncle nor their aunt treated the two siblings very well. Satoshi's aunt wouldn't have to vent her frustration upon them. The reason the couple fought was their corrupted relationship, so if they separated, there wouldn't be any more fights. No, they're both terrible people. Satoshi had fought at that at first. But even after they separated, his aunt still had a short temper. Another woman had stolen her husband. The villagers must have been talking behind her back. It was mortifyingly embarrassing. Since she lost an opponent to fight, Satoshi's aunt directed her hatred towards the siblings. Satoshi had been observing her. He learned when she would get upset and how to avoid her attention. He managed to get by without upsetting her, by turning a keen eye to her behavior and avoiding conflicts. But Satoko couldn't do that. She hated her aunt and didn't even try to hide it. Satoshi told her to behave in her aunt's presence, but her eyes were always filled with hatred. Satoshi strived to reduce the conflict between them as much as possible. He stepped in to mend the relationship. It was a heavy burden for him, though, because he was still just a boy. He bore so much, he covered for his little sister by lying and maneuvering. He tried to maintain a tangible sense of peace, but he couldn't do that forever. The relationship between Satoko and her aunt had already spiraled out of control. Satoshi found something in the trash. Oh, we're back to the junkyard. We haven't been here since chapter 1, have we? No, we probably saw this at some other point. There probably wasn't a legitimate place for trash disposal. If it was, sanitation workers would come and pick it up. He passed by this street all the time, so he noticed that there were new fiends dumped here. He found a plain-looking desk of the kind likely he'd be seen in offices. Somebody must have dumped it within the past few days. His aunt liked to bring usable trash home. She'd had Satoshi help bring a chest home just a few days ago. If he told her about the desk, she'd want it. His aunt hated to find bugs and garbage in the drawers, so he'd always open them to check before carrying the thing home. Satoshi opened all the drawers, all of which were empty. After that, he turned around and walked about 5 steps. He was standing in a knee-high bush. There he laid something he'd been carrying all the time, until today. It'd be very hard to find unless you specifically knew it was there to begin with. Looking satisfied, Satoshi looked around for some landmark to remember the place by. This is him burying the body, or maybe. Or the bat. June 20th, 1982, 5:51 p.m.
Hey, Oyaji!
What was that voice? Hey, Oiji!
今年も来たね。また根こそぎかっさらってくから覚悟しときなよ。
Guys, can you believe this? The stall itself is talking. This is a miracle. There has to be some demonic presence at work.
そっちの子は新顔かい？
この子はね、竜宮レナ。こう見えてても結構やるよ。
Hey, Rena.
そんなことないよ。
Nice to see you in your casual outfit.
よろしくお願いしますね。
おう、こっちこそよろしくな。今年もいろいろ景品を持ってきたんだぜ。もちろん真剣勝負だ。根こそぎ持ってけるもんなら持ってけってんだ。
レナは可愛いものには
And
目が
there she
ないので
is.
すよ。
Rika in the Shrine Maiden outfit. Very adorable.
ああ、あのぬいぐるみとそっちのぬいぐるみはレナの好みだね。
Oh boy, cute mode activate. Why are we getting the creepy music in the background? I know somebody's gonna die.
お持ち帰り。
ダメだよ。まだ準備中だよ。おい。
You gotta win the game first, Rena. That's how it works.
レナ、ダメダメ。まだ準備中だってさ。ちゃんと回転したら根こそぎさらってやりな。もうダメだよ。レナのものなんだよ。お持ち帰り。
No, you're not. Rena lost her marbles over the stuffed animal. Everybody laughed. What a kook! Everybody except Satoko. Yeah. Yeah! She was standing by herself, some distance from the crowd. Her eyes looked dull. Yeah, I wonder why. Thank goodness Rika's here to be friends with Satoko. Even if she has her own creepy moments. Rika walked up to Satoko, smiling ear to ear in an effort to cheer her up. Satoko looked down. Even if she got to have fun today, her circumstances at home wouldn't change. Well, about that! Rika's so blunt! Your aunt is evil. Not like your terrible aunt is... No, your evil aunt isn't around. I mean, she is pretty evil, let's be frank. She's evil in a common way. She's not extraordinary like Maleficent. She's just a terrible person. You remember hating the slice of life scenes, reading chapter 1, desperate for the plot to kick in. By chapter 5, you wanted them to never end. I like the slice of life stuff. That's some of the best stuff.
そんなことは分かってますわ。なら、いっぱい笑って、いっぱい楽しくなるのですよ。ニパー。ニパー。
I said Nipa. Rico, I don't know what that means.
そういう気分になれませんの。申し訳ございませんけど、放っておいてくださいませ。どうしてSatokoは笑いませんでした?
I just don't know. It's not like her life is terrible. Satoko sulkily glimpsed at Rika. She gave her a look, as though she wanted to say that Rika should know the reason. Even if she could have fun today, nothing would change between her and her evil aunt. No matter how fun the festival was, once she went home, her aunt would be there. The aunt would find something wrong with Satoko, get mad, and shout at her so loudly that the neighbors would hear. I don't know why the neighbors are gossiping about me and hate me so much! They can hear you abusing your kids! How could she have fun, even just for today, while knowing all that? I agree! If I have, like, a worry in the future, like, an actual serious one, it's hard to kind of enjoy the present without just being, like, stupid and trying to forget entirely about it. Easier said than done, too. She didn't say that out loud, but her eyes betrayed the emotions to Rika.
ではSatokoの辛いのが今日でおしまいになる。
Rika, are you in on this too?
Satoko は笑ってくれます
Oh wait, no, she just knows what's going to happen. Never mind. She's not in on it. She just knows what's going to happen. Satoko gasped. She thought that Rika might do something to help. But soon after, she realized that Rika was just trying to comfort her. Well, kinda. Yes and no. Could her suffering end today? Because of Rika? How? Satoko knew that there was nothing Rika could do. And so, after just one moment of freedom, Satoko fell into depression again. Rika is remarkably chipper, considering her parents died at the festival last year, and she's living alone. I know she's, like, all-knowing or whatever, but...
くだらない気休めは聞きたくないです。
They're not false.
Satoko?
Rika's voice was clearer than Satoko had ever heard before.
もう決まっていることなので。
Oh, creepy Rika back! June 20th, 1982, 8:11 p.m. Sachichi snuck out a window after supper. He heard the distant ruckus of the festival. The festival would end at 9 p.m. After the Watanagashi ceremony, there would be a raffle drawing. So there were two types of people in Hinamizawa. The people who would go home for dinner, and the ones who would stay until the raffle was over. Either relaxing at home or still at the festival. There were only those two patterns. On top of that, there weren't many neighbors in the vicinity of Satoshi's house. As a result, he found nobody on the streets. On that night, the small village seemed especially desolate. Satoshi knew it was going to be like this, but he would keep worrying until he saw it for himself. He was barefooted, but started running without hesitation. He felt as though he'd become a wild animal, running on his bare feet. Oh boy. He's doing it, everybody! He's getting ready. Oh. This is, this is gonna be interesting, isn't it? Come on, where is it? He's up at bat now. He got the impression that he could run faster than usual. Not only his running ability, his vision, his hearing, and his sense of smell. All his senses were keener, including his sixth sense. He could almost sense the presence of people in the distance. He also has 5-star power, if only when crouching like an animal. It felt strange, as though he had stepped into another world. He'd been feeling tense and anxious until today, battling with his own fear. But now he felt as though he had metamorphosed into a different person. And might be some demonic possession happening here. June 20th, 1982, 8:37 p.m.
それでは
What a great voice.
お楽しみ抽選会の説明をこれより始めますね。
Of course you are, man!
どうぞ皆さん、櫓の周りにお集まりくださいな。
The festival had reached its climax. The raffle was going to start. They didn't have a raffle cage here. Both the women who were dancing and those who were waiting for the raffle gathered around the altar. This was the first time they'd held a raffle, and also the last. The planning committee decided to hold one from this year onward to attract more people to the festival. At first, the prizes were things the committee members had donated, but Oreo, not appreciating how pathetic they looked, had thrown them away. Oreo took the initiative and bought a brand new TV, a washing machine, a cooling fan, and other such things for the raffle. The committee wanted to keep it small initially, but it turned out big thanks to her. Oreo was upset because the committee members weren't enthusiastic enough, in her opinion. Also, a pack of Oreos. But don't worry, if you find the singing Oreo, you might win big. Some of the members thought it would be very difficult to prepare prizes of equal value the following year, so this might be the first and the last raffle. Aha, that's why.
おりょうさんのおかげで本当なすんばらしい商
Oh
品になった
boy,
ね。
old people. We barely know about the guy on the right. We just know Shion killed him in a year or two. And then we got Oreo. She sucks.
だいぶかかったんじゃないの？運営費で立て替えするよ。
すったらうな程度で建て替えなんてアホらしい。銭金の問題じゃないんね。たく。
まあまあそう言わないで。おりょうさんのおかげでできた抽選会なんだから。
こんな私一人でどうにかすりゃええんちゅうわけとちゃいねや。パホクサ。
The mayor, Kimiyoshi, was having a tough time pacifying Oreo. All of a sudden, one of the committee members burst into the tent in a rush. Troll in the dungeon! He looked upset, so Kimiyoshi assumed that somebody had probably got hurt in an accident.
どうしたの牧野さん。そんなに息を弾ませたら心臓が破れちゃうよ。
I bet Oreo's pretty bad. Kimiyoshi made a joke to calm him down. Makino, however, still looked tense. He whispered something to Kimiyoshi. Even without hearing the exchange between Makino and Kimiyoshi, it was plain as day that there was bad news. At the very least, Oreo has a torture chamber in her house. A room specifically for torturing people. And in case you think, well, maybe she didn't build it, maybe she just inherited it. Okay, she hasn't taken it down. So, think about that. Boy.
おりょうさん、悪い話なんだ。
Somebody stole the
いいか
TV!
い
Kimiyoshi, accompanied by Makino, moved to Oreo's side and spoke in a very serious tone. Kimiyoshi whispered to her the exact same words Makino told him.
いやはや、参ったよな。
参るも参らんもなんねん。三度あっちゃんは
Uh-oh.
四度あるっちゅ
The
う
aunt is
ことな。
dead! Imagine if the aunt won the raffles, even though she didn't enter.
おりょうさん、そりゃ笑えないや。
面白い話でもなんでもなぎゃ。面倒が増えただけっちゃね。
警察が今身元を調べてるらしい。どうも相当顔面をやられてるらしくて、
Oh,
身元の特定が難しそうなんだ。
he used the star power hit. He used... Which star power hit? Did he use Mario's fireball? Did he use Donkey Kong throwing a barrel at her face? Did she use Bowser's bullet bill? She probably used Bowser's bullet bill. That's not gonna leave much left. They already got the news. He wasn't very stealthy. Then again, neither was Keiichi. He just had his friends cover for him.
顔がわからんでも
She
おお
already
その想像
knows.
はつくっちゃな。
I summoned the demon and told him to possess Satoshi. What? What?
心当たりがあるのかい。
Oreo glared at Kimiyoshi, then started chuckling. Yikes!
バ
I
カ
don't like that laugh. That's creepy.
綿流しの祭りにも顔を見せん。ちゃんとお社様を敬って祭りに来ちょるんわ。そんな目には合わなんぞよ。
The Gundam poster in the background. Yeah, look at that laugh. She's like, she's happy it's happening. She's like, well, if you just follow the rules, we won't have to put hits out on people. Oreo kept laughing. Kimiyoshi and Makino didn't know how to react to that. June 20th, 1982, 9:04 p.m. Oh! So we got Uisi and Kumagai. I was wondering if this would be Akasaka, but nope, that doesn't look like him.
こりゃ無残なもんっすね。
Who the heck could do such a thing?
クマちゃん、死に方ってのは本人が望んだものでない限り、 どんなでも無残なもんです。
Satoshi is definitely going to be MVP this game.
お悔やみ申し上げちゃいますよ。そっちどう？ポッケの中身とか個人が特定できそうなものは？
The forensic investigators shook their heads. Oh no, unfortunately we don't.
サンダル履きで服装もラフ。近くにお住まいの方でしょうね。服装の特徴から周辺に聞き込みをすればすぐに割れそうっすね。
それしかないな。課長からこの山一くそさしてかかりそうだからって脅されてます。
Kumagai is cute, but he's got pencil arms. Hey, you know, not all of us are ripped, okay? Not all of us can be Uisi.
その辺注意してくださいよ。
了解っす。
Kumagai gathered some officers and gave them directions.
入江先生が到着しました。
It's Coach.
先生、あそ
I'm
こで
sorry,
す。
doctor. A young doctor got out of his car and headed in the victim's direction.
どうも。
Oh, he's not wearing his bustin' outfit. He also looks a little too happy to be told that there's a dead body who's unidentifiable because their face has been beaten to a pulp and he needs to identify it. He's like, oh, this is just a fun Watanagashi festival, isn't it?
遅れて申し訳ありません。抽選会の手伝いの最中だったもので。
Yeah, that takes priority over a dead person.
先生、今日の祭りでだいぶ
But
飲ん
we
で
see,
た
I
で
don't
し
think
ょ
you're in any position to judge other people's habits.
アルコール本当に抜けてます。
Oh, that would explain why he's happy.
後で風船でも膨らましてもらっちゃおうかな。
But then you'd be out one doctor.
ご安心を。運転はスタッフに代わってもらってますので。
Who's your assistant?
そりゃ卒がない。おい、先生
Was
どうした
Luisi really trying to arrest him or give him a ticket for drunk driving when he specifically called the dude here? That's not cool. There was an area cordoned off with blue plastic sheets. An officer rolled up the sheet and let Luisi and Erie pass. The forensic people were taking photos from many different angles. Oh, we gotta get them all! The blood spatters and bloody sandals were left untouched, marked with the chalk and indicated with small alphabetized plates.
こういうものは見慣れませんね。
Erie took out a handkerchief and covered his nose.
匂いがダメな時は口呼吸にするんですよ。まあこういう匂いは目でも嗅げちゃうかな。ね。
Are we gonna get a CG of how disgusting the body looks? No, we'll just get a blood splatter. The body appeared to be that of a middle-aged woman. It was soaked in blood. It looked like a middle-aged woman because of the hair and what she was wearing. The reason why no one could be certain it was a middle-aged woman was because its face was completely pulverized.
ひどい。
十中八九円弧
What
線ですな
tipped you off? I'm pretty sure it was justified self-defense if their face was beaten to a pulp.
血痕とサンダル裏から見てここで殺したのは間違いないでしょう。
Did he steal a motorcycle just like Keiichi?
でも見ての通りここは人通りが少ないと言ったって往来のど真ん中です。ここで頭部がひしゃげるまで殴り続けたってのはちょいとまともな話じゃないですからね。でね、ほら腕とか見てみてください。
You bet Erie knows who killed the aunt but plays dumb? Probably. Yeah. He's probably one of those guys who's like, I don't necessarily condone it, but I get it. Luisi put on latex gloves and lifted the corpse's arm.
腕は綺麗なもんでしょう。
それはつまり腕で防いだとか抵抗したとか そういう痕跡がないという意味です。
Maybe she died on the first impact, but he's like, nah, I gotta get more of this anger out. Being demon possessed and all.
さすが高学歴。仏さんはおそらく最初の一撃で脳震盪かなんかで気絶したんじゃないかと思うんです。で、星は確実に殺した手応えを得るためにさらに打撃を加えた。さらに言えば仏さんはその時うつ伏せに倒れたように思うんですよね。ねえ、服の汚れ具合からの勘ですが。
遺体は仰向けですね。
星は後頭部を散々潰して明らかに頭蓋骨が砕けてる手応えを得ているにもかかわらずわざわざ顔面を潰してるんじゃないかと思うんですよ。
But what happened to Satoshi? Where did he go? Erie looked like he was going to throw up, both because of the putrid smell and Uisi's reasoning.
遺体の顔面を殴るってのは私の経験じゃかなり怨恨の線が強いです。それもだいぶ濃厚な。
Is it a petty grudge or a professional grudge?
ってことはつまり星は仏のかなり近辺にいるのは間違いないかと。
私を呼んだのが救命活動ではないということはよ。
先生、この人が誰かわかりますかね。わかれば聞き込みの手間がだいぶ省けるんですがね。
Erie looked at the body once again. He looked away quickly and thought. Then, after a while, Erie left the investigation area without saying anything. I didn't say you could leave.
すみません。私にはわかりかねます。
He's like, Uisi on the hunt. You're not getting away from him.
本当に
Uisi smirked and looked into Erie's eyes. Although, as though Erie was hiding something.
別に隠してなんかいません。
Five Cyclops appear.
先生もアルコールがまだ抜けきってないだけですよ。頭が冴えたら思い出すかもしれません。思い出したら教えてくださいね。
Uisi tapped Erie on the back. The doctor, saying he wanted some fresh air, left the scene. Ooh, I wonder if part of the reason Satoshi wanted Mion to bring Satoko to the festival was A, to try to give Satoko a, like, fun time that night, but also B, he didn't want her to see or be able to deduce what happened, and 3, he potentially also doesn't want her to be a suspect. That could be the case. Doctor saying he wanted fresh air, you left the scene. Kumagai returned.
おいさん、課長から無線です。1号車の無線っす。
イリエの先生。
I have this Magatama. I saw his Cyclops.
いえ、こっち、仏の聞き込み急いでください。ほぼ間違いなくこの近くにお住まいです。
June 20th, 1982, 9:39 p.m.
おいさん、連れてきました。
どうもどうも。こんな夜更けに申し訳ありませんね。
Oh, is he calling Satoshi?
明日も学校なのに本当に申し訳ないです。
There he is! Oh boy. Now, as much as I like Satoshi in this art style, I do not like Uisi in the console art style. Uisi has to be in the remake art style, so here we go.
お父さんはどちらへ
Okay, that's a low blow, you doofus. You surely know his dad is dead.
うちの寄付は
Oh, or is
あまり帰ってきませんので。
おお、いつ頃から最後に帰ってきたのはいつ
さあ。
Oh, maybe Uisi suspects it's the uncle.
義母と喧嘩しているのを聞く限
In
り
the
は
club.
沖宮でどこかのキャバレーの人と同棲してるとかなんとか。
The anime did Kumage dirty. He was a forgettable NPC character design. Oh man, that's unfortunate. Justice for Kumage.
最後に会ったのはあまり覚えてないんですけど、先々週。
I didn't finish. It was hard for me to judge.
お父さんの連絡先はわかります？
いえ。
キャバレーの人と同居してるって言いましたよね。 なんてお店かわかります？
いえ、沖宮のどこかにある。確か知りません。
Oh, I've been to every club in Okinomiya. Is it this one? Is it Hooters? I think it was Hooters. I knew it.
お父さんの名前は？
北条哲平です。
Uisi signaled Kumage with his chin, who nodded while taking notes.
お父さんとお母さんはあまり仲良くなかったですか？
程度の度合いはわかりませんが、よくはなかったと思います。
率直に聞いて申し訳ないですけど、お母さんに恨みを持っていた人間とか、知っていたら教えてほしいんですがね。
よくわからないです。
This is interesting, because I thought Satoshi disappeared the same night that the aunt died. But maybe that's not the case? I was always under the impression that for the curse on the Watanagashi Festival, one person died, one person got demoned away, like in the same night. But maybe that's not the case. Does anyone have a grudge against her? Everyone. Yeah, that's pretty true.
そうですか。じゃあ、もしも思い出したらでいいので、その時は教えてくださいね。これ、私の名刺です。ここに電話番号ありますので。
はい。
じゃあ後日またいろいろとお話を伺うこともあるかもしれません。もしもお父さんと連絡がつきましたら、沖宮警察署の大石まで至急ご連絡をとお伝えください。
The uncle, the police always want to contact the uncle. He's kind of a shady dude.
くまちゃん、北条さんを自宅まで送ってあげてください。
It's like, no, I am allergic to cars.
一人で帰れますから。
Oishi's like, look, Oishi, if he's smart, is gonna be, look, there might be a murderer on the loose. We're not letting that. Yeah, there might be a murderer on the loose.
お母さんを襲った犯人がまだ近くにいる可能性があるんですよ。
Well, he is.
あなたもまた狙われない保証なんてないんですからね。
お気遣いありがとうございます。
Just do it, Satoshi.
でも本当に
That's gonna look
結構ですね。
Satoshi tried to reject the offer, but Uisi and Kuwage insisted. In the end, Satoshi was forced to accept. Yes! He turned around to leave. When Uisi spoke to him as if he'd remembered something he'd forgotten to say.
北条さん。
はい。
大丈夫ですよ。心配しないでください。犯人はすぐに捕まりますよ。
手がかりとかあるんですか？
That's true, yeah. Uisi definitely has a very personal reason to be involved with this because his friend was the foreman who was the first death.
ありますよ。
どんなですか？
捜査上の秘密ですよ。
We found this baseball bat. It says property of Satoko on it. Ordinary people might think Uisi was trying to cheer the poor kid up with a joke.
いえね。人を殺すってのはかなり感情の高ぶるもんなんですよ。そりゃ冷静に殺してみせるロボットみたいなのも稀にいますがね。
感情が高ぶると
Ooh.
何かわかるんですか？
人は極限まで感情が高ぶるといろいろ体に反応が出ます。発汗とか脱毛とかね。
Hey, you're kind of sweaty right now.
殺人現場に犯人の毛髪が落ちているってことは割とあることなんですよ。まあここは屋外ですからね。現場が絨毯の上ってのとはだいぶ勝手が違いますが。
He is a lot more quiet than Keiichi, isn't he?
犯人の毛髪は拾えたんですか？
さあね。鑑識の連中が大列組んでさっきから行ったり来たりしていろいろ探してます。まだ結果待ちでね。何が出るやら。
That's why you wear a hairnet if you're committing a murder.
明日があるので今夜はもう帰ります。
そうなさってください。クマちゃん、送ってあげてください。
了解っす。
では北条さん。
Keiichi would be self-reporting himself. Bait self-report.
また近いうちに進展があったらお知らせしますよ。北条さんも何か思い出したりしたらぜひ教えてくださいね。
Not if you remember something, when you remember something.
憎き母の仇の逮捕に協力してまいりましょう。
Ooh-hoo-hoo. To be continued. Higurashi when they cry. Alright, so that was a chapter where we were not playing from Shion's perspective. But now we're back. Okay. Sis called the morning after the Watanagashi festival to tell me that the curse had struck again for the 4th time. The victim was the evil aunt who had been harassing Satoshi-kun and Satoko. Satoshi-kun's suffering should be over now, since the problem was with Satoko and the aunt's relationship to begin with. Maybe I should have celebrated, but I wasn't in the mood for some reason.
犯人ってもう警察は目星をつけてるのかな。
Oishi is super sharp, but is he Rena sharp? Oishi, oh man, he's such a cool character. Because, like, you can tell he's, like, definitely on the side of justice and, like, trying to catch the culprit. He's got a few unsavory, like, aspects with, like, where he's like, I like gambling and, like, like, clubs and weird stuff. But, like, he is interesting because he's, like, such a friendly guy, but he also can be really terrifying. Because, like, you can tell he's just super smart and very savvy and gets a good read on people. Story's getting juicy now. Do the police have a lead on the suspect? Do they? Sis went quiet when I asked that.
さあね、大石の野郎がしつこく聞き込みをして回ってるみたい。犯人は近しい人間に違いないと思ってるようだね。
Being identical twins, Sis and I think very much alike. If I suspected Satoshi-kun of being the murderer, so would she. Because of this, I didn't have to mention the obvious.
サトシ君って祭りの日にアリバイあります？
どうだろう。
He was in his bedroom, making no noise and pretending he didn't exist. I heaved a huge sigh.
バカですね。サトシ君は祭りに来ていた。そういうことでいいじゃないですか。
そうだよ
Oh,
ね。
Shion's gonna be like, you better give him a fake alibi.
気が利かなくてごめん。
I heaved another sigh. Sis was stupid enough to forget to make an alibi for him, even though the murder of his aunt alone would raise enough suspicion.
じゃあ、やっぱり、サトシが？
サトシ君が殺したかどうかが問題じゃないでしょ。サトシ君が犯行の時間帯にアリバイがあったかが重要なんです。たく。
後で警察がうちに来るみたいだから、来たらサトシは祭りで一緒だったって言うよ。
お姉、取ってつけた嘘なんか何の役にも立たないです。何も手を打たなかったなら、今さら小細工しても無駄ってことです。せいぜい正直に喋ってください。
Wow. Alright, Shion.
お姉は芝居が下手なんだから、変に意識するとかえって勘ぐられますからね。
It is like in chapter 3, yeah.
ごめん。
She sounded depressed. I was the one who should have been depressed. Mion usually handles things well, but she's not too good with emergencies. I was left worried for the future of the Sonozaki family. Mion must have been embarrassed. She soon changed the subject.
シオン、最近はあまりバイトに行けてなかったでしょ。
ご検察痛み入ります。おかげさまで。
Okay, don't try blaming her.
ごめん。今日は私、夜まで姿を隠してるから、バイトに出られるんじゃない？
Sis had been appearing in public places during festival preparations and whatnot. As a result, I hadn't been able to pretend to be her. I hadn't been able to work. As someone who had to support myself, it was a bit of a pain. To be honest, I didn't feel like working, but I couldn't afford to be sitting around either. When I locked my apartment door before leaving, the door of the next apartment opened and Kasai appeared.
シオンさん、お出かけですか？
そんなとこです。お姉が姿を隠してくれるそうなんで、久々にバイトに出ます。カサイ、暇だったらおじさんの店まで車を出してもらってもいい？
Can you, Kasai? Please.
シオンさん、しばらくはバイトを控えられた方がよろしくはないですか？事件のせいで警察は園崎家界隈を監視しているようですし。 あまり姿を表に出さない方がいいのではないかと思います。
Yeah, you should probably listen to the Yakuza bodyguard.
お気遣いは嬉しいけど、バイトしないと食費もないわけですし。
Kasai might suggest he donate money to my cause. However, I had sworn to myself when I started living here that I wouldn't depend on Kasai. I appreciate your desire for independence, but it's kind of hard when you literally cannot go out in public if your sister's out in public. While I don't obey anyone else's rules, I stick to my own. Kasai could tell that I was adamant in my decision. So after repeating himself a couple times as a formal procedure, he decided to give me a ride after all. Every time we went to the uncle's store by car, we stopped at this traffic light. I knew it was going to happen again, but it still irritated me. Pedestrians passed by in front of the car. I was startled to see that one of them looked like Satoshi-kun. It was him. Though I'd spoken to him on the phone just a couple days before, it's been a while since I saw him last.
葛西、悪いけどおじさんに、やっぱ今日のバイトは行けなくなったって伝えてくれる？
No, you aren't gonna go.
私、ここで降ります。
You can't do that!
シオンさん。
Kasai looked taken aback, but I got out of the car regardless, and got run over by a train. The light turned green. The car behind him honked while Kasai was shouting at me, so he had to start moving. Satoshi-kun was on his bike, but he was going really slowly. What a lazy bum. I caught up with him in a flash and tapped him on the back. Don't do that! Don't tap him on the back if he's paranoid. He might kill you.
沖宮で会うなんて奇遇ですね、サトシ君。
If I talked to him with a smile, he might smile back. So I smiled as brightly as I could.
Mion.
Okay, so he did not disappear the night of Watanagashi. So the demoning away doesn't necessarily happen the same night. I really thought it did. Of course, Shion would be willing to cover up a murder. Yeah, I mean... Oh, yeah. It must be... It would stink having to pretend you don't exist. I probably wouldn't mind it as much as a lot of other people because I tend to spend most of my time in my house anyways. But, yeah, not having the freedom to go out and do that, that would stink. He looked tired as always. But as I could tell, he was trying to smile back. My worries suddenly disappeared. I was certain I looked happy. I was aware of that of myself, so it must have been obvious to Satoshi-kun.
何があったか知らないけど、ミオンが楽しそうだね。
ええ、楽しいですよ。サトシ君の機嫌が良さそうなので、私も釣られて機嫌が良くなっただけです。
When I teased him, he looked a bit embarrassed. It was like we were back in the good old days. I even felt happier than before.
サトシ君こそ、何か機嫌が良くなるようないいことがありましたか？
My aunt died. It's great.
いいことなんかないよ。おばさんが亡くなって、警察とかご近所とか、いろいろ大変だよ。
I might have asked something dumb. He seemed to be okay with it, though. He'd frowned a bit at first, but Satoshi-kun continued smiling gently. He looked worn out, but satisfied, like he had accomplished something great. That was the mood I sensed from him. So, I was convinced. The one who killed the wicked aunt who tormented Satoko was him. I had absolutely no proof, but I knew it intuitively. So I omitted all those questions. I knew Satoshi-kun's motive was for killing his aunt, and how badly he was driven into a corner. I knew the environment and the situation he was in. And I knew Satoshi-kun's feelings. I knew all of that. So I omitted all those questions. I wanted to celebrate his release from that curse, so I smiled like nothing was different as I asked.
サトシ君はどこかへお出かけですか？あ、バイトかな？
正解。その前に寄り道なんだけどね。
寄り道？
I have to get a new baseball bat. Mine disappeared last night.
毎日ちゃんとショーケースに
Oh,
あ
he's
る
getting
のを
the
確認
teddy
しない
bear.
となんだか不安で。
The conversation reminded me. The reason he started his part-time job was to buy Satoko the huge teddy bear. It was being sold at the toy store just down the street. I recalled that the teddy bear was very expensive. Satoko's birthday was right after the festival. I wasn't sure what day, though. Wait, didn't he say he quit his job? Maybe he was going to greet his ex-coworkers and clean out his locker or something. Either way, he'd be completely free very soon. Maybe he hadn't been paid yet. That's why he wanted to check if they still had the teddy bear. Maybe he was only getting paid on Satoko's birthday. When we got near the toy store, he rushed to the display window. He looked relieved that it hadn't been sold yet.
よかったよかった。大丈夫。 ちゃんとあるよ。
買えるだけのお金は稼げてるわけですよね。なら予約とかしちゃえばいいのに。
もう
He probably hadn't thought of that. He really did need someone to look after him. I looked into the display window over his shoulder. The teddy bear wasn't that cute, in my opinion. It looked huge and cramped in the middle of the store's showcase. Really, it looked more like a display model than an item for sale.
値札がついてないけど、これ本当に売り物なんですか？これ一体いくらするんです？
売り物なのは確認したから間違いないよ。
Everything's for sale. You like my watch?
予算は大丈夫？
大丈夫だよ。ちゃんと確認してあるよ。
Satoshi-kun thought I was teasing him again. He pouted and looked a little sulky.
予算が大丈夫なら問題ないじゃないですか。なら予約しちゃいましょう。その方がサトシ君も心の荷が下りていいでしょうしね。
We entered the store and looked for a clerk. Is it gonna be Mion? Because she does work here.
そりゃ好都合です。サトシ君、お給料日を待たずにぬいぐるみ
He's gonna now realize that they're twins. Mion's totally gonna be working here, isn't she?
ダメだよミオン。泥棒はいけない
And it's gonna be a whole lot harder to explain, because at least for Keiichi, she's like, I told you I was Shion, this is like twin. And he's gonna be like, you lied to me. You told me you were Mion. Wait, which one of you kicked my sister into the desk? Stealing is bad. I can't believe Satoshi has to say this. The frog is so derpy. I like the pink elephant in there.
冗談ですって。軽く受け流してほしかったんだけどな。ひょっとして私が盗っ人の真似を平気でできる女だと思ってます？
Yes, I do.
ごめん。
Satoshi-kun smiled apologetically. I puffed up my cheeks to tease him. It had really been a while since the last time we did this. Oh wait, no, hang on. Mion's not going to be here because she said she was laying low for a couple days. In between those times, many undesirable things happened that I wanted to forget. But now I felt as if all those things had simply vanished into the air around us. I found an old person napping in the back. He must be the clerk, I thought. He looked to be fast asleep.
すみません。お店の方ですよね。
I poked his shoulder, but he didn't look like he was going to wake up. When I did that, a middle-aged woman wearing an apron came in.
おじいちゃん、店番頼んだのにすっかり眠りしちゃった。お客さん来てるってのにもうごめんなさいね。うちのおじいちゃんももうすっかり
Grandpa probably should be retired now. Let him sleep. The middle-aged woman shook the old man awake and told him to go back to the living room. She went to the cash register after that.
お恥ずかしいところ見せちゃってごめんなさいね。何かお買い上げ？
買うんじゃなくて予約なんです
You
け
have the
ど。
cash on you.
いいですか？あのショーケースの中の一番大きいぬいぐるみなんですけど。
あれ？
Oh, sorry. Someone else already did it. It was Al.
いいの？値札見た？かなり高いけどお小遣い大丈夫？
He's like, yep, I know. That's why I want it.
ギリギリ足りるはずです。
もうすぐバイトのお給料が入るそうなので、それまで予約したいんですけど。
Shion, please don't chime in if you don't know for sure. The woman looked a bit hesitant at first, but she eventually wrote down Satoshi-kun's name and accepted the reservation. Satoshi-kun received a slip of paper.
ね。これでもう誰かに先に買われちゃう心配はもう必要ありません。
I also like the dog plushie. He looks so refined.
お給料がもらえるのはもうすぐなんだけどね。これで安心できる。
Oh, is he gonna be? I'm gonna find the bank account, like, information in the house. He would have kept coming to the check every day if he hadn't done this now. He would have spent his time needlessly worrying. Satoshi-kun looked very relieved indeed. She's gonna be like, oh no, if I hadn't done that, then I could have guaranteed him every day by going to the toy store.
これならもっと早くに予約をしていればよかったな。
普通の人は欲しいと思ったら即予約します。そういう思考に至らないサトシ君はちょいと希少です。
It's so very fun to tease him. Those painful days seem unbelievable now. Satoshi-kun looked like he'd forgotten everything that happened up until yesterday.
でも
Don't head pat her. She's gonna go nuts. Satoshi-kun held out his hand to touch my head. Was he going to stroke it? I felt my face reddening already. Or is he gonna slap you? Even before he touched my head, I felt tingly, remembering the last time. I didn't care about the murder or whatever else happened. As long as Satoshi-kun had his freedom, everything would be alright. Oh man, this is like Twilight now. She doesn't care if the guy she likes is a murderer. He's hot. I'll be content as long as we can live happily from today onward. Well, you can't, because you hate his sister. But Satoshi-kun's hand never reached my head. I slowly opened my eyes and he bitch-slapped me, only to realize that the situation had drastically changed. There were 4 men in suits blocking our way. Uh-oh. Oh no, is Street Gang back for their revenge? It looked like as though they'd been waiting for us to exit the toy store. Oh, it's not Street Gang's revenge. It's not, okay, it's not the delinquents. Ulysses, he's here. The oldest of the 4 men stepped forward while smirking. I'd never met this man, but it looked like he knew both Mion and Satoshi-kun. He was probably a co-op. I ran a search for information in my head, and found some right away.
Konnichiwa. Hojo-san, Sonozaki-san. Oh,
if you want the teddy bear, sorry, we just reserved it. Dang it! This must be Kurado Uisi, the cop who's investigating the series of mysterious deaths. He thinks that the Sonozaki family is behind all of the cases. In other words, he's an enemy of the Sonozaki family. He has deep connections with other investigation divisions in the police force and likes to nose around the businesses in this area. Oh. Shion's going to get Mion in trouble because she's going to have to talk to the cops, and that's going to mess things up, and then her family's going to be, Shion, you ruined everything. He annoys the Sonozaki family enough as is by interfering with its Yakuza business, let alone his suspicions on the series of mysterious deaths. Naturally, as the family's successor, he's not a welcome figure to Mion Sonozaki. I tried to imagine how Sis would react.
ありゃ、大石さんですか。お仕事ご苦労様です。大の大人が4人も揃っておもちゃ屋さんに何かご用で？まさかお人形さん買いに来たってわけでもあるまいに。
I know what they want, and it's not a toy. It's probably not me either. They want Satoshi-kun. I took a look at Satoshi-kun. He seemed a bit uncomfortable, and he changed art styles completely. The other 3 cops loosely surrounded us to prevent our escape.
北条さん、実はですね、ちょいと伺いたいお話がありまして。
何それ？任意同行ってやつ？サトシ君、こんなのに付き合う必要ないよ。行こう。
I pushed on his shoulder, but he just stood there looking pale and bewildered. Bewildered? No, he actually looked resigned. Then, I recalled Sis's mistake. It's obvious that he killed his aunt from the circumstances. You don't even have to look at the crime scene. How could Mion have failed to create an alibi? Don't go blaming her. That stupid Mion must have spoken to the police without making anything up at all. She must have not told them something that she knew where Satoshi-kun was. If she hadn't done anything, the villagers wouldn't work to help her. It was just a matter of time before the police uncovered Satoshi-kun's complete lack of an alibi. The police were trying to corner him and lead him to confess. I looked at Satoshi-kun's face once again. He looked like a dead man. He probably didn't know he could refuse to be interrogated. If he was taken to the station and grilled by Uisi, he'd confess in a minute. Somebody had to protect him. Nobody had ever been there for him. I had to step up now. Uh-oh. Photo negative. Now you know things are nuts. But how? Would it be possible to alter what Mion had already told them, saying it was a mistake? That wasn't going to work. If I had more time, I'd come up with an excellent idea. But I didn't have that much time at all. To pressure him, the cops were drawing nearer. Satoshi-kun must have felt intimidated. He might end up turning himself in due to the pressure while I'm stuck trying to come up with something. I had to do something now! I have to say something. Otherwise Satoshi-kun might give in. I have to save him. Uisi drew nearer. Satoshi-kun fell back.
Oh. 大して時間は取らせませんから、そんな怖がらないでください。
It won't take long because they just have the evidence to arrest him. It won't take much time. He just said it. He just said he wouldn't let him out if they caught him now. What? No, he didn't. Am I an idiot? Satoshi-kun, don't give in. If you give in now, everything you've been working for will be ruined. Oh, that was a good squeak. I love it. Satoshi-kun looked like he was at his breaking point. Uisi was clearly aware of it. Uisi smirked, and then held out his arm to grab Satoshi-kun's shoulder. I felt electrified when I saw that. That hand shouldn't be allowed to touch Satoshi-kun. The moment Uisi touched his shoulder, he'd give in. He'd go to the police station and confess everything.
サトシ君にアリバイがあるか知りたいわけですよね。
Uisi turned his face toward me. His hand left hanging in the air. I wasn't very prepared for this. I just had to stop Uisi no matter what. I only needed to gain some time. It didn't really matter what I said.
そうですよ。北条聡さんのアリバイが知りたいんです。
Does he really, though?
私たちの捜査がまずいからなのかな。犯行の時間帯にどうしても北条さんのアリバイが見つけられないんですよ。
The way he phrases things is so perfect, with him being like, oh, like trying to kind of lure you into that false sense of security and then like trapping you. Oof.
仕方ないから恥を忍んでご本人に直接そのあたりをお伺いしようかと思いましてね。
そんなの本人に聞く必要ないです。私がアリバイ証明しますから。
ありゃ、そりゃ本当。
Really? Because we asked everybody else and they said he wasn't there.
なら助かるな。あの晩園崎さんが神社にいてお祭りの最後まで過ごしていたことはすでにあなたからも聞いているし、その他大勢の方からも証言を得ています。そのあなたがそこで北条さんとも一緒だったと言ってくれるなら一番楽なんですがね。でもあんた以前そのあたりをお聞きしたとき、北条さんのことは一言も言ってませんよね。実はいましてって。
Oh, wow.
今頃
You know, it is really convenient that Uisi just mentioned everything we said to him. It's almost like he knows we're two different people.
祭り会場の誰一人、北条さんを見ていないのに、あなただけは見ていたとそうおっしゃるおつもりで。
そうです。私と一緒にいました。それで十分です。
あなたが仲良しのお友達と終始一緒にいたのは分かっているし、私も会場で実際にお見かけしています。
This guy's too good at his job.
それでも一緒にいたとおっしゃるわけで。そいつはちょっと苦しくない？ん
Uisi approached me with a creepy smile. Okay, could the cops please stop playing the sleigh bells for a minute? Was he teasing me because my excuse sounded funny? I didn't think so. He was frustrated due to being interrupted when he was about to catch a big fish.
祭り会場でずっと一緒に遊んでたのに、すっかり忘れてて今頃になって思い出したと、そうおっしゃるおつもり？園崎美音さん。
I did get a little scared, but I couldn't stop myself. I could save Satoshi-kun if I revealed my real identity. I was aware of the risk. Grandma would certainly capture me if I revealed it. I didn't think of the consequences after that. Notebook page 27. Oh!
っていうか、私ミオンじゃないですし。
Oh, I see. She's outing herself now. Okay. Okay. I like they just reused the same thumbnail. They literally just reused the same. Did they literally just use the same thing, but they just made Keiji blonde? They're like, that's Satoshi. Hang on, I still have. Or wait, no, that's on a different. No, it's not on a different hard drive. Hang on, I want to pull it up. Higurashi, Higurashi. Don't lag on me right now, computer. I want to check the previous thumbnail. From chapter 2. It's gonna be here somewhere. Okay, hang on. I wish I could show it on screen. It is basically the exact same picture. Not quite. Keiichi's face is a little higher up compared to Satoshi's. His eyes are a different color. His hair is a slightly different style. There's very subtle differences, but they definitely used the first one as a template. I could just use the exact same thumbnail. That could work. Alright.
だからもともと綿流しになんか言ってません。
あ
サトシ君とは綿流しの晩は沖宮のファミレスでずっとおしゃべりしてました。エンジェルモートって店ですので、どうぞ店長にも確認を取ってください。
Ooh. Luisi was still smirking, but he apparently felt confused.
あんた何を言ってるの？あんたミオンじゃないなら誰なわけ？
He's like, there's two of them?
園崎、シオンです。ミオンの双子の妹です。初めてお会いしますね。こんにちは。
Ooh. Luisi looked perplexed, like he didn't believe what I'd said. Yeah, because it's nonsensical. He frowned.
園崎ミオンさんに双子の妹がいたなんて初めて
It's
知
the
りま
same
し
artist.
たよ。
I know. I'm giving him a hard time, that's all.
あんた大人をからかってんの？
からかってなんかないですよ。どうぞ戸籍でも何でも調べてみてください。それともお姉を呼んで二人で並んでみせれば
How
信じます？
is Satoshi gonna react to this? All the cops look bewildered now.
園崎シオンさん？
はい。シオンですが、何？
あんたにもちょっと来てもらってもいいですかね？あんたが園崎シオンさんで北条さんと一緒におられたって言うんなら、
望むお手柔らかによろしくお願いいたします。
Getting juicy now. The cops gathered at their car and started discussing something. Looked like they never expected this to happen. I hope to be able to fake Satoshi-kun's alibi for at least a little while. It shouldn't be too difficult to talk to Sis about this, then forge up an alibi together.
サトシ君、何を聞かれてもエンジェルモートで私とおしゃべりをして過ごしていたと言い張ってください。私が何とかしますから。何を聞かれてもよく覚えていないとか、サトシ君なら下手なことは言わず黙り込んだ方が
What
無
is
難
gonna be
か
going
も
on
で
in
す。
his head? Is he gonna think that this is actually just Mion pulling this out of her butt? Or is he actually gonna be like, this is two different people? What? Satoshi-kun wore a startled expression. Though I was telling him something important, he'd apparently decided not to listen.
サトシ君、聞いてま
His
す？
brain's broken. There's been too much that's happened in the
こ
last
こでしっ
24
かりしない
hours.
と刑事たちの思うツボです。
He must have been feeling deceived. No wonder. I just confessed that I wasn't Mion, but her twin sister. I really had been deceiving him.
怒ってます？
なんで？
騙してて。
Oh, that was an interesting laugh. Satoshi-kun started laughing. I didn't know why he'd laugh. Because he wasn't the type of person who would laugh in order to hide something.
たまに教室のミオンと話が食い合わないことがあったから、
Oh!
違和感は感じてたんだ。
It's just a, like, the glass fell from your eyes kind of situation.
やっと
That's
わ
not-
かったよ。
That's not. The scales fell from your eyes.
怒らないでくれるんですか？騙してたこと。
Satoshi-kun looked puzzled. It was like he didn't know whether he should be upset about it or not. Or maybe he was only pretending to be that way.
はじめまして。じゃないんだよね。
はい、そうなります。
そっか。シオンってどう
He's
か。
taken this remarkably well.
詩を読むの詩に音で。
Poetry and sound.
Shion
Huh.
シオン。
ん？
いい名前だね。
Oh no, she's gonna go crazy. She's gonna go crazy. Oh, Luisi may not be here anymore. Never mind. Wow! Immediately.
すみませんが、署まで
Immediately.
ご同行願いますかね。
I should have known.
粉末でよければコーヒーか紅茶かくらいは選べますよ。
Well, there we go. Higurashi when they cry. New tips unlocked. Notebook page 29. Absentee present covered for a murderer. And has a teddy bear as a picture. Great achievement name. Notebook page 29. Either Satoshi-kun was smart or very lucky. Or maybe it wasn't him. The police found nothing at the crime scene to indicate his involvement in the murder. Yet Satoshi-kun was still the prime suspect. Considering his home environment, he had a strong enough motive. He had no alibi. The police had everything other than physical evidence. It wasn't surprising that Uisi took a chance. He probably didn't expect me to step in, but what I did was too little to avert his suspicion of Satoshi-kun. Uisi believed that Satoshi-kun did it. He was waiting for Satoshi-kun to fall apart and confess. That's what both Uisi and I were thinking. But that hypothesis was destroyed later on. I'll not talk about it now, but Uisi's theory will be disproven, and the police will be thrown into shock. A question comes to mind. That is, who saved Satoshi-kun? I can only think of the possibility that the Sonozaki family invented the culprit. Okay, interesting. You know, I think we can do one more part tonight. I'm not going to the next tips, but I'm going to the next, like, Higurashi when they cry to be continued vein. The cops were smart enough to separate us during questioning. Uisi didn't come to talk to me. His aim was Satoshi-kun and nobody else. I got a young cop who just talked about ordinary things. He must have been trying to ease me into the interrogation. When I realized that, the clumsy way he spoke began to frustrate me. Is Satoshi-kun alright? I didn't think Uisi really bought my testimony. He must have been trying to get Satoshi-kun to confess in spite of that. All I could do was pray that he'd keep quiet. The phone on the desk rang, and the cop picked it up.
はい、熊谷です。はい？ああ、そうですか。わかりました。すぐに。
He hung up and told me that somebody had come to retrieve me. Uh-oh! Looked like Satoshi-kun had to stay. Were they going to continue the interrogation just because he had nobody to pick him up? Although maybe I should have been worrying more about myself. The hag had probably heard about me by now since I revealed my real identity to the police. I couldn't hide any longer. I was going to receive some sort of punishment. I had no idea what she'd end up doing to me. The degree of punishment for a traitor is always severe in the world of the Sonozakis. Is that really treachery? The punishment must be carried out. If it's to protect the family's reputation, it's carried out no matter what. Maybe I should kiss my pinky finger while I still can. They're not actually going to cut it off, really? No, they can't. She had all of her pinkies in the main timeline. I asked the young cop just in case.
ねえねえ、アメリカなんかでよく死刑囚が死刑廃止の州で捕まると引き渡さないでくれるっていう話あるじゃないですか。
What?
Hmm?
Maybe it was too difficult for him. He just looked puzzled. A glossy black car was waiting for me in front of the police station. A few men from my dad's office bowed to me.
シオンさん、ご無沙汰しております。
Uh-oh.
ダサイは
Kasai had been helping me ever since my escape from the school. They wouldn't allow him to walk free.
お姉はどうしてるの？何か言ってる？
私たちはシオンさんを本家へお連れしろとしか言われていません。
Oh boy.
詳しくは本家でお尋ねになってください。
After saying that, he escorted me into the car. A man sat on either side of me. Obviously, they didn't want me to escape. Thinking of Satoshi-kun, I looked back at the police station. Hey, hold on tight, Satoshi-kun. I'll grin and bear it too. The car started off roughly. Everybody has the same car! It was never a good occasion when I went to this house. Except when Mion and I were really small, oblivious of what the Sonozaki name meant for us. I'd only been here when I had to attend boring family councils. The car parked behind the house. Traders aren't allowed in through the main gate. I got out of the car. It looked like Sis would be the only person to receive me. I almost spoke to her casually, but her cold gaze froze me before I could.
お久しぶりですね、シオン。
Oh. Well then. Okay. Hi.
新年以外に会えるとは思いませんでした。
Well, I didn't come here by choice. It gave me the chills to hear her greet me in that cold manner.
ミオン姉様こそご機嫌麗しゅうございます。新年以外にお顔が見れて3問くらいの得を感じます。
I responded, trying to sound likewise.
当主は大変ご立腹ですよ。どう釈明されるか見ものです。私がするような釈明なんて別にないですし。
I had no excuse. I'd escaped from the school solely because I couldn't stand it there. That was all.
シオン、来なさい。皆待っています。
Who's everyone? Mion escorted me, and the others followed. We went to the garden, not into the house. Oh no, are we going to the torture room? What the butts? As we passed through the huge yard in the woods, I realized where she was taking me. When we were little, we were told never to go near these woods. I had a vague idea of what was in the back of them. I'd heard there was a hidden entrance to the underground torture room where they used to punish the enemies of the family. They're still using this? What the heck? The more hideous rumors I heard about the family, the more credible those rumors seemed. Well, I wasn't completely certain about any of that. I'd never expected to see the torture room for myself. Well, not only till chapter 2 anyways. We came to a conclave clearing in the middle of the woods. That's not the words, it's concave clearing. I saw a metal door at the bottom of it. The door reminded me of a bomb shelter.
これが噂の地下拷問室ってやつですね。
Yikes. I was surprised to hear my own voice. My voice was trembling. It made me realize I was more scared than I thought. Nobody answered my question. The very air felt tense. According to the family rules, one of the twins must be eliminated. Was I finally going to be eliminated? Good luck covering that one up, especially since we now told Uisi that we were Shion. Although I guess he doesn't have a DNA sample, so they probably can't prove it, so he'd be like, Mion was just lying. I realized I had been underestimating my punishment. I hadn't been aware of the real terror until now. I just thought I was. Beyond the steel door, the air had an intimidating smell. This really was happening to me. I shouldn't allow myself to give in to fear. I felt like saying something rude, but my lips were dry, and my fingers were fidgeting. I was escorted through the narrow hallway and down a few sets of stairs. There, I saw another huge steel door. Geez, it's excessive much? So this was the place. It was spacious and, an utterly odd-looking room. What's that sound? The room had two sections that looked completely different. One side looked like a lounge. I saw several high-ranking members of the family council sitting on cushions there, looking expressionless. What? Hey, everybody, Shion messed up. Every family member congregate to the underground torture bunker so we can laugh at her while she gets tortured. The other half was tiled, as if a large public bath. That was already puzzling enough. Ooh, I hear that droning in the background, and there were those things. To be honest, they had captured my attention from the moment I arrived. I noticed them even before I saw the lounge and tiled space. Alright. I just didn't want to accept that they existed. I couldn't stand straight. I almost dropped to my knees, but I couldn't. Two young men had been holding me by the arms ever since I got here. Okay. Well, this might be about to get real dark. There were oddly shaped things hanging from the wall. I was just refusing to recognize what they were. I knew exactly what they were called. I see. I understood that those eerily shaped objects were torture devices from hell. Okay, Grandma. I should warn you. I beat up a 10-year-old the other day, so you might want to beware. Okay, you forced me to come here, so that's on you. The hag sitting at the front of the lounge intimidated me in a horrid voice. She kept cursing me for a little while, but she was so incensed that I could barely tell what she was saying. I knew what she was trying to say, though. The hag was willing to forgive my escape from the school, but once I revealed my identity to the police, she had to step in. Since I had disobeyed the family rule, she, as the leader, was forced to punish me. Moreover, there was one thing that bothered her more than anything else. The fact that I covered for Satoshi-kun. The Hosho family had been seen as traitors to the village ever since the dam conflict. Satoshi-kun is still considered one of them. She couldn't accept that I was connected to him. To me, this was a bit unexpected. This music is intense. I'd escaped from the school the hag had put me in. All the while, I believed that was what she was upset about. No, because she knew prior to this, didn't she? But in fact, she still said she was most uncomfortable with my connection with Satoshi-kun. I couldn't believe this. Of course I knew that Satoshi-kun's family was persecuted of further betrayal, but I didn't think that Satoshi-kun was also burdened with that responsibility.
そんなのサトシ君関係ないじゃないですか。サトシ君の親はわかるとしても、サトシ君個人には何の責任もな。
Ooh. Okay, creepy lady. Oh, she immediately goes back. The hag interrupted me with a shout, which made me cower in fear. She continued slandering the Hojos and said that Satoshi-kun was a cursed child. Oh, right. I started feeling pissed off. What did he do to deserve this? What was he being blamed for? It was too late when I realized I'd said that out loud. The hag looked furious. I'd obviously upset her. I decided to repeat myself to make it very clear how I felt.
鬼ババ、あんた何言ってん
Called
の？
her hag in front of everybody, so that's gonna be rough.
黙って聞いてれば言いたい放題。
なんばねすったら口の利き。
やかましい！しまいまで聞きなよ、鬼ババ。
I shouted loudly to silence the hag.
だいたいあんたはサトシ君の何を知ってるの？
This is kind of the one time where Shion is justified in her, like, rebellion and actually being saying jerky things.
サトシ君のことをよく知りもしないくせに、まるで彼を害虫みたいに言い捨てて、サトシ君がどんなにいい人か、私はよく知っている。彼が北条だからいけないの？バッカみたい。時代錯誤も甚だしい。園崎の私が北条のサトシ君と一緒にいたのがそんなにも不愉快なの？くったらないくったらないバッカみたい。こんな安っぽいロミジュリを自分で体験できるなんて思わなかった
You
な。
really don't want to compare yourself to Juliet. She was an idiot. My voice became hoarse from shouting. My face was messy with tears. Even so, I didn't feel like putting a stop to my emotional explosion. I was all too aware I was doing this just to overwhelm my fear. The hag was glaring at me while breathing heavily. I glared back at her as fiercely as I could. Eventually, I realized that her sticking point was my relationship with Satoshi-kun. She wasn't only upset that I had a mere connection with him.
そっか。ミオンがそういう告げ口をしたわけか。
It was as though Mion was wearing a mask. She didn't budge under my penetrating glare. That was what the hag was really unhappy about. The fact that I was in love with Satoshi-kun.
確かに私、自分が園崎家だとか、サトシ君が北条家だとか、そんなの認めますよ、認めます。
Oh.
私は北条サトシ君が好き
You
です。
don't love him, actually. You're just obsessed with him.
彼のことが大好きです。それっていけないこと？人が人を好きになるのに何か理由が必要？
I could see the relatives shaking their heads in turmoil. Among them, I saw my mom. She must have been trying to protect me. But even she wouldn't look at me. Instead, she looked silently at the floor.
後ろのあんたたちも聞こえてるでしょ？私おかしいこと言ってる？あんたたちだってサトシ君をよく知れば、彼がどんなに素敵な男の子で私が好きになるのがおかしくないことがすぐにわかる。なのになんで相手の人格も知ろうとしないで一方的に。
Mion held out a hand to silence me. Then she slowly walked in my direction.
もう結構です、シオン。あなたの言い分と覚悟はよくわかりました。
Mion put her head close to mine and whispered.
シオンの覚悟はよくわかったよ。でもここまで言い切っちゃったら誰にももうかばえない。シオンがけじめをつけてみせるしかない。
けじめ？
Yeah, I actually... Okay, to be fair, they were like, you have to pay for what you did. What she did was repulsive of beating up a 10-year-old girl. However, they're not punishing her for that.
なんで私がなんでそんなバカな。
シオン。
Mion's face turned cold again, and she calmly told me.
あなたの言う個人の理屈は多分正しい。でもね、あなたも理解していると思うけど、ここはひなみ沢で、私たちは園崎家なの。御三家の末席で、
You're
今
leaders
や
of...
事実上のひなみ
You're
沢
leaders of one of the three families.
そしてあなたは仮にも、園崎家次期当主である園崎美音の双子の妹。それが
I interrupted her.
あんたとはこっちに帰ってからどうもそのあたりの話が食い合わないですね。大人の事情みたいなことばっか。ひなみ沢？園崎家？だから何？私はそんなの全然興味な。聞きなさい。
Ooh, Mion interrupted me just like I did to her.
シオンは今日まで沖宮で生活するにあたってどれだけの人の世話になってる？
Chill shot through my spine.
葛西さん、奥の牢屋にいる。
No, he's actually a good dude.
なんで葛西が？
That means you should be in a cell too, Mion, because you helped us too. I knew why, of course. The moment I got caught, those who helped me were destined to meet the same fate. We were all subject to the punishment of betrayal. Maybe my punishment would be lighter than what they are going through. Kasai and Uncle Yoshihiro must have been treated much worse than this. No! You can't hurt Uncle Iroh. Everybody who helped me was falling victim.
シオンがどういう目にあっても、シオン本人は覚悟があるからいいだろうけど、お世話になった葛西さんや吉郎おじさんがどうなるかまでは
That's true.
考えが及ばない。
Why are you not being subject to the punishment, though? Is it just because you're the heir? My head rapidly cooled down. My aggression was all used up. I should be able to bear whatever punishment they'd bring on me. But I resented the fact that I'd be putting the people who supported me at risk.
シオン、ばっちゃんに謝って。
For what? Be specific. What?
けじめをつけてみせれば、シオン一人だけの話で全部済む。
Oh, that's an ooh, okay. That's actually an interesting moral quandary. Do you, like, fake an apology to save people that you care about?
誰にも迷惑をかけない。
でもミオン、私間違ったこと言った？
Yeah, this family sucks. Well, to be fair, most of the families in this suck. Keiichi's family is a real winner.
そんなにも悪いことした？
The moment Mion learned that I wasn't willing to apologize, her expression turned cold again. She turned her back to me and returned to the lounge. I talked back to the hag in a really harsh manner. She deserved it, though. She sucks. I told her that I didn't do anything wrong. Well, you definitely did something wrong, but ironically not really for what... Yeah, it's a messed up situation. Yet I had involved many people to who I owed so much. It went without saying, this was my responsibility. I was the sole person to blame, and no fault lay with them. Yet Kasai and Yoshihiro-san were blameless, just as Satoshi-kun was. But then, as if she read my mind, Mion turned around and gave a slight nod. It was possible that something was going to happen to Satoshi-kun, on top of Kasai and Uncle Yoshihiro. That can't happen. Satoshi-kun. I mean, nobody else should be punished. Please forgive them.
何ですか、シオン。
Because again, like, Shion is being treated repulsively by her own family, but that doesn't forgive the stuff that she's done. It's just to kind of... No, it doesn't even really explain it either. She's just... it's just a bad situation for everybody. Tears rolled down my cheeks. I no longer cared about my pride.
ごめんなさい。私が間違っていました。許してください、当主様。
I should have said what the hag wanted to hear. Yet she still looked unsatisfied. Maybe that wasn't too surprising. I just had denounced her so badly in front of the relatives. She wouldn't forgive me so easily. Just then, Mion spoke as the successor.
ではシオン、どうやってけじめをつけるつもりです？
I mean, I've got $100 in my bank account. That would probably help.
けじめってどうすれば？
I want a TV in the raffle. That would go a long way. Nothing could be scarier than being told to pay up while standing next to horrid-looking torture devices. I was completely terrified. I couldn't move from trembling. Mion saw that and whispered to our grandmother. The hag nodded. Mion summoned some young minions and gave them an order. They removed one of the torture devices hanging on the wall, then set a table in front of me and put the device on top of it. What is going on here?
何これ？
It's just like, stab yourself with the needle in the arm 50 times. Ah!
爪を剥ぐための道具です。
What is going on here? I have a fingernail clipper as well.
使い方はわかります。
Yeah, you just snip, snip, snip. Mion, Shion, have you not been clipping your nails? That's a problem.
わかるわけないでしょ。
I shook as I stared at the tool. It looked like a giant nail clipper. Oh, it's not. You probably put the part that looks like a beak between your finger and fingernail, pulling them apart if you squeeze the handle. Ew! Oh, this is gross! The chills ran up and down my spine when I imagined that.
爪1枚ずつでシオンがかけた迷惑のそれぞれのけじめとします。
Punishment is this?
園崎シオン、どの指でも構いません。自らの手で
What the hell?
3枚の爪を剥がしてみせなさい。
Why? This is disgusting. 3. 1 for Kasai, 1 for Uncle Yoshiro, and the last for Satoshi-kun. Or for Mion. Ew. Oh, this is horrible. It was a fairly reasonable number. No! What the fraud?
本当にそれで他の人は許してくれるんですか？
That's not as bad as cutting off your finger entirely. But wow, this is going to hurt like hell. Bro, do you know how bad it hurts when you just have a hangnail? Which is just like a tiny thing? Oh, yuck. Eyelash removal would be nothing compared to this.
約束して。私がちゃんと自分の爪を剥げたら他のみんなは許すと約束して。
これはあなたのけじめであって取引ではありませんよ。
Yeah, no, you're right, Ruben. Yeah, this is happening just because she has a connection to Satoshi and rebelled against the family customs. This is so effed. Again, I don't like Shion, but punishing her for stuff that's like literally not even her fault is ridiculous. If they had said like you got to do this because you beat up a 10-year-old, that would also be going too far. This is just like each character is trying to out evil the other. This is ridiculous. Oof. Yeah, nails do grow back, but the pain will remain forever.
この方法が気に入らないなら。
やるから待って。
Are there other torture options? Can I choose which torture device to use? Because I might be able to do that. Although, guess what, Shion? You were going to do something far worse to Keiichi, who was truly innocent in Chapter 2.
待ってよ。やるから。
Do we really have to do this in front of the whole family? Is this like, all right, everybody, grab your grab your pop secret, sit on the couch and lounge and watch as Shion like mutilates her own hand? It'll be fun. Great family bonding activity. I put the device to my little finger while shaking badly. Ugh. Okay, so you obviously want to do this to your non-dominant hand, whichever one that is. Which nails would you remove? I would say pinky and ring finger. And probably middle finger, probably. The toes would be easier to... Oh! Are you allowed to remove your toes instead? Oh, if so, I would do that. I would do that. Honestly, I could remove my big toes and, like, that would actually potentially have, like... an improvement. Yeah, no, I probably shouldn't go into too much detail. I occasionally get pain in my big toes, and I think it's because they're rubbing against the skin, so it might actually be in my benefit to remove them, but yeah, this is gross. This is all a cycle. Shion's being punished for something she didn't deserve, and Shion punished Satoko for something she never deserved. It's the cycle of abuse, yeah, but I can't sympathize with you for continuing the cycle of abuse. You gotta break that, sucker. I put the device to my little finger while shaking badly. If my fingernail were shorter, it would have been harder. The metal beak captured my little finger beautifully. The subordinates then stabilized my left hand with a different restraining tool. That seemed reasonable because my finger would slip out if it weren't restrained like that. As if the subordinates buckled the lever straps. I realized that this was really happening, and there was no escape. Somewhere in my mind had been thinking that they might forgive me if I just the gesture alone. I shouldn't have been so naive. The emotions I'd been holding back appeared in the form of tears and kept rolling down my cheeks. How is her mom just sitting here and being like, do it, sweetie, do it? Like, what the butts? It was like my feelings were being squeezed out until the very last drip. Something even more horrifying followed this. It was the silence that awaited my next action.
どうするの?
One of the subordinates pointed to the handle and told me to either squeeze it or hit it. Ew! He recommended that the latter would be easier to make it quick. That's probably true. You definitely don't want it to have to come out in multiple pieces. That would be... Oof. It's a black screen for now, but they could have a CG for this. I hope not. Don't worry, we're just looking at the ceiling. Nobody said anything after that. There was nothing to hear but the sound of my sweat dripping onto the floor. The onlookers were staring at me silently, waiting for me to execute my punishment. They're just watching! What psychos? They're not even looking away, they're just like, do it! Both the hag and Mion. They were also anticipating it. Don't watch the anime then. Yeah, I wasn't going to. I could refuse, but that meant I wouldn't be paying up. The punishment exists to offer payment in exchange for the safety of those who helped me. So they're gonna, like, punish the guys who helped you, but not the person who... Not you, if you refuse this. This is really dumb. If I refuse, they would suffer. I should have ended the stream at the last to be continued. This is gonna be hard to get through, and this is right before I go to bed. I started breathing heavily. I knew that if I did this, the others would go free. That was, if you thought about it, quite the good deal. If it weren't me, it wouldn't just be 3 fingernails. If it were Kasai, he'd have to sacrifice his little finger, or something even worse. I knew that. It was my selfish desire to get away from that school. Why did Kasai have to suffer because of that? I knew that. The fingernail scene is one of the most infamous scenes from the anime. I bet! That's probably horrifying to watch. Why did Uncle Yoshiro have to suffer just because he provided me with a job? The anticipation is sometimes worse than the actual thing. I knew that the hag and the other relatives still hated the Hojos. So I didn't know what they'd do to Satoshi-kun if I didn't do this. Would they bring Satoshi-kun here and tell him to do the same? Would they tell him to remove his fingernails in exchange for forgiving me? Yikes. He'd do it. He'd sacrifice himself with no hesitation in order to save others. My sweat dripped onto the table through my nose. I'd do it. Yes. It was only 3 fingernails. It might hurt a lot, but I wouldn't die. The fingernails would grow back. It wouldn't even leave a huge scar. I shouldn't be afraid. The punishment was minimal because it was me. If I refused to do this, the others would be punished much more severely. I couldn't let that happen to Kasai, Uncle Yoshiro, or Satoshi-kun. I was the only one who should be punished. So I just needed to bear the pain. I wasn't just breathing heavily anymore. I was also moaning faintly, ready to scream at any moment. That's right, make it quick. This wasn't torture, so I didn't have to prolong the moment of pain. I should just do it in one swift blow. Yikes! This is... It's well written. This is where we're getting to the real horror. That way, my pain and fear would be minimized. I raised my right arm. Quickly, quickly! The pain would be lessened if I did it in one stroke. It'd be much more painful if I messed it up. I held my breath. I felt as if my body was frozen. I was choking. The chills crept up my spine. Don't be afraid, Shion. Fingernails are just a tiny fraction of the whole body. Just 1 square centimeter. I could do this. I could bear it. Oh, that's a nasty scream! I smacked my right hand onto the handle of the device. Ooh! Yikes! I sensed the noise through my body instead of through my ears. At the same time, I felt a pain I'd never experienced before. A moment later, the pain pulsated with my heartbeat. Okay. I clenched my teeth. I felt like my teeth were cracking. I tightly shut my eyes until my eyeballs got squeezed up. The pain wouldn't fade. Rather, it swelled with my blood pressure. I felt as though it was bloating like a balloon. Timidly, I opened my eyes. I found that my little finger wasn't really drenched in blood. It was bleeding, but not much. Certainly not enough to explain how much it hurt. My fingernail was open, just like the hood of a car. Gross. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was overwhelming. It occurred to me that I'd only done 1 out of 3. Did I have to repeat this 2 more times? Did I have to remove the nails from my ring and middle fingers as well? I looked up at the hag and at Mion begging for mercy. But they were just silently staring at me. They're just psychos. As if the show had only just begun. They're just eating popcorn. I saw no hint of mercy in their eyes. They wouldn't be changing their minds. Since they said 3, it had to be 3. They wouldn't forgive me until I removed 2 more fingernails.
Mio, れで許して。あのねこれ
This is just psychotic.
本当だ。私の顔を見ればわかるよね。本当にさ、痛くて。
Mion answered, still wearing a cold look.
シオン、もう無理。
She didn't mean that it was sufficient. What she meant is that the others would still have to take the remaining punishment if I didn't. I knew that. I really did know.
やれるよ。こんなの全然楽勝だって。このサディストどもが。
Yeah, sadists, actually.
こんなの怖くない。こんなの痛くない。
Oof. The music is top tier here. I quickly moved the metal beak and set it on my ring finger. Don't do it don't set it up too quickly. You don't want it to have to come off in multiple pieces. You really don't. And smacked it with no hesitation. Instead of making it quick, maybe I was just rushing out of fear. I'd messed up. The torture tool had clipped just the tip of my fingernail. The pain, however, was equal. I couldn't believe I'd only chipped it. Did I have to do it again? Did I have to continue removing the nail from my ring finger? That much pain again? Again?
シオン、
やだ。
I couldn't bear it anymore. I started crying shamelessly. Woof.
もう無理なの。本当に痛いの。もう許して。本当に許してよ。ごめんなさい、ごめんなさい。謝りますから許してください。ごめんなさい、ごめんなさい、ごめんなさい、ごめんなさい、ごめんなさい、ごめんなさい。
Yikes. Also, shoutouts to the actress who voices Shion for a top tier performance here. Wow. They didn't seem to hear my voice. It felt as though there was an invisible barrier between us. They showed no mercy. They were just here to witness the ritual. So rather than sympathetic, they looked amazed by my screw-up. Mion walked up to me and whispered to my crying face.
シオン、あとちょっとだから頑張って。
Jeez! How did she get the screams this realistic? Mion shook her head and then signaled to the subordinates. They came from behind me. They covered my head with something like a knit cap. It was a blindfold. One of them pinned me in a Nelson hold, restricting my movement. Why would anybody want to be in this family? Like, ever? If these are, like, the cultural things behind it. Why would nobody be like, F this, we're out? Why wouldn't they all just be like, F this, we're out? This is ridiculous. I couldn't overpower the guy behind me. Then I felt something strange on my left hand. The other guy was doing something with the torture tool. He put the metal beak between my ring finger and the fingernail. Oh, oh no. This is horrible. This is horrible. Also, Mom is a psycho if she's not doing anything to step in for this. My left hand was fixed in the restraints, so I couldn't put up much protest anyway. But even that left hand was pressed down by the rough palms until it hurt, robbing it of the freedom to even tremble. They had no hesitation. Ugh. It was made very clear to me how merciless people could be. Robbed of my vision, all I could do was clench my teeth against the pain assailing me. If there was anything I was thankful for, it was that he was well practiced and had ripped off both of my fingernails cleanly. Pain and screaming might induce narcotic chemicals in the brain. While screaming, I started to lose consciousness. Gross. That was my least favorite scene. I mean, it was really well done, but that is my least favorite scene to sit through. And that includes the horrible after-story stuff last time, where I just skipped through most of it. Oof. No, we're continuing. I don't want to end it on that. We're gonna do it until one more to be continued. I woke up. My memories were missing. I couldn't remember how I got back to my room. I held my hand with both hands. That's not what it said. I held my hand with both heads. Conjoined twins. My left hand was bandaged. The fingers had their nails removed. It had swollen like hot dogs. I paid for those free fingernails for what I did. The hag said something after the punishment, but I don't remember any of it. I was taken to a hospital in Okinomiya. The car shook on the way, adding extra pain on top of what I already felt. Somebody gave me some aspirin. They worked just like it said on TV, but they didn't last more than 10 minutes. I swallowed the pills without water. While I was spacing out in the waiting lounge, Kasai showed up. He probably came to check if I was alright. Bruh, my bro. I obviously wasn't. He must have understood that from my bandaged left arm dangling from my shoulder. Kasai, on the other hand, looked just fine. At least on the outside. I was relieved that my sacrifice had meant something. Okay, if they had actually still, like, removed his pinky finger, or, like, forced him to punish as well despite everything they put Shion through, I would understand her going on a murderous rampage specifically against her family. Not against Keiichi and Satoko and Rika. Kasai didn't say anything. The crocodile thing. I couldn't tell if he wanted to tell me something or not because he looked so emotionless.
Kasai?
なんでしょう?
He paused shortly before answering. I could tell he was upset. I didn't regret revealing my true identity in order to protect Satoshi-kun. But I hadn't wanted Kasai or Uncle Yoshiro to be hurt. I had been contradicting myself.
吉郎おじさんはどうなったか知ってます？
いいえ。したたかな方です。ご無事と思います。後で謝られた方がいいでしょう。
I wanted to ask him about Satoshi-kun too. I wondered if he was captured or harassed by the Sonozaki family because of me. But I was hesitant to ask Kasai. After all, I'd chosen Satoshi-kun over them. I'm glad my sacrifice meant something and Satoshi-kun still disappeared anyways. Yeah, probably. Was Satoshi-kun alright? I hoped he wouldn't get caught or incarcerated somewhere. I paid the hospital bill and Kasai gave me a ride home. I finally realized that somebody was knocking on my door.
シオンさん、横になり続けるのもやはり体に毒です。
Can you blame her? It was Kasai. He put some side dishes on the table and we started nibbling at them. This is horrible that the Yakuza bodyguard is more of a parent to her than her actual parents.
気分は落ち着かれましたか？
落ち着いたというか、
この数日間はずっと伏せっていたんですか？食事はされていましたか？
冷蔵庫の中の残り物を適当に食べてました。あとは天井を見てるか眠っているかのどっちか。
It had been 3 days. I'd just been lying down since then. I woke up every now and then in my shallow sleep, but I didn't feel like getting up or thinking. I felt like I'd just been floating the whole time. My appetite was gone, but it came back with the smell of food that Kasai brought. I wasn't able to think of anything to talk to Kasai about, so I just ate silently. Sometimes just company is all you need. Kasai is a real one staying of Shion to make sure she's okay after that traumatic event. I know, man! Like, he's great. I know he probably does some bad things in his job, but... because it's from Shion's perspective, he seems like he's a real one.
シオンさんの部屋に何度か電話したけど出なかったからということで。
The moment I heard Mion's name, I felt my wounds throb. But I didn't stop Kasai, who continued.
園崎本家としては、シオンさんがご自分でけじめをつけられたので、これで決着とするそうです。あの学園には退学届が出されます。シオンさんは沖宮の学校に編入になるそうです。
園崎シオンの人権が
That is so
認められたって
effed that they forced her to do that just to go to a different school. And all that. Like, it's so disgusting.
そうですね。
With every day, I am more and more thankful for the family I have.
今後は園崎シオンとして生活してくださって構わないそうです。
And one of them's gonna be, you can't be a Satoshi.
ですが、みだりにひなみ沢には近づかないこ
She's
と。
gonna break that.
園崎ミオンを語らないこ
She's
と。
gonna break that.
人前にみだりに姿を
She's
現
gonna
さな
break
い
that.
こと。他にも細々とありますが、つまるところ、
存在を認めてやるから本家に目立つようなことは二度とするなってわけか。
そういうことになります。もちろん永続的なわけじゃありません。ほとぼりが冷めるまで当分ということです。具体的にいつまでという期限があるわけではありませんが、今年いっぱいくらいはこれまで通り目立たない生活を送られた方がよろしいかと思いま
Thanks,
す。
family. Glad that's all under the bridge. Yeah. Like, this. Oh.
私は沖宮でひっそり暮らすだけで十分です。もともとこれまでだってそうして暮らしてきたわけだし。
This is a beautiful psalm. Wow. Kasai put on a sad smile. I smiled back at him likewise. Before the conversation ended, I should ask him what I wanted to know.
サトシ君はどうなったの？
I wish that Kasai would assure me of his safety right away. But he didn't answer like that.
葛西、サトシ君は
シオンさん、
He's disappeared. Kasai put his chopsticks down.
本家から北条聡君のことは忘れろとことづかっています。
何それ？
シオンさん、あなたと喧嘩はしたくないんで、これ以上この話はしたくありま
Don't
せん。
shoot the messenger, Shion.
本家からの言葉を伝えるのみにとどめさせてもらいます。
Being Shion would suck. Being any of the main characters in this would suck. Honestly, yeah, I think Satoko probably has it the worst. Along with Rika, considering what we saw her go through in Chapter 3. Dear Lord. That's still by far the most haunting CG. Along with Rena trying to open the door in Chapter 1.
何？その話をしたくないってのは。葛西！
Kasai pretended as though he didn't hear me and started eating again. I'd never seen him get so stubborn like this. The Sonozaki family had been using the Hojo family as a scapegoat. They must have concluded that a Sonozaki shouldn't be in love with a Hojo. I didn't like that. Satoko is a friend of Mion's at school. Would it be okay if Satoshi-kun and I were the same gender? Anyway, if I did something conspicuous again, they might do something to him for real. Just like they forced me to remove my own fingernails. The Sonozaki family wouldn't hesitate. They'd torture him if need be. Maybe, if I really loved him, I should stay away. Satoshi-kun won't show up in Okinomiya unless he rejoins the Hinamizawa fighters. I'd have to pretend to be Mion if I wanted to go to Hinamizawa, but I didn't think she'd cooperate with me. Even if she did, it'd be quite some time down the road. Even if they told me not to see him, I'd already had no means of doing that again. Oh, wait. Mion gave me his number a little while ago. I could call him, and maybe ask to meet him with him secretly. But if I got caught again, they wouldn't cut me any slack. Should I risk it? What the hell did I even want from Satoshi-kun?
葛西、ちょっと一人になりたい。
Kasai started putting away his food in a rush, assuming that I wanted him to leave.
あ、いいの。葛西はのんびり食べてて。私がちょっと一人で散歩がしたいだけなの。
私もシオンさんと一緒に出ないとこの部屋に鍵がかけられません。
Kasai quickly put away his meal and followed me out.
あ、先に断っとくけど、別にサトシ君に会いに行くわけじゃないからね。
Five Cyclops appear.
わかりました。
I turned around and started walking. My destination was rather pathetic. It was the toy store that sold that giant teddy bear. I couldn't deny that I was somewhat expecting Satoshi-kun to pass by here. You liar! You said you weren't going to see Satoshi! I couldn't stop myself from looking at the faces of passerby who resembled him. I looked into the store's window. The teddy bear was gone.
サトシ君、おめでとう。
変えたんだね。
I know. They're basically saying, no, you don't get to have a happy life. Just because you were a twin. It's so gross. His evil aunt had died and his wicked uncle was living with his mistress. Satoshi-kun succeeded in fulfilling his duty as a big brother by buying his little sister that huge teddy bear. Everyone wins, except the mistress. There was nobody left to hurt him. He was free from his tiresome efforts. He was completely free from pain. Over time, he'd retrieve his smile, and he'd go back to being the Satoshi-kun I love. But I wouldn't be there for him. I heard a car honking. I didn't think it was honking at me at first, but it was so persistent that I had to look up. Uisi? The person waving to me from their car was Eri. Oh no, it's Coach! He was waving at me all carefree, oblivious to my feelings. Hey! I love your bandages!
ご無沙汰していますね。あ、ひょっとしてサトシ君と
No,
待ち
no,
合
no,
わ
no,
せ
no,
でした
no, no,
か？
no.
いえ、そういうわけじゃないです。
そのおもちゃ屋さんのショーウィンドウはそれでてっきりサトシ君との待ち合わせか何かかなって思っちゃいまして。
いえ、たまたまここを通りかかっただけです。変えたみたいですね、サトシ君。
He's like, I check every day to see if he's done it too. Yeah, I'm normal. Eri seems to know about the teddy bear as well. He smiled upon seeing its empty display case.
昨日がサトコちゃんの誕生日でした。
Oh, how fun. We got to remove our fingernails on her birthday. Best birthday present.
きっとあのぬいぐるみでそれをお祝いできたと思います。
じゃあもうサトシ君は無茶なアルバイトに精を出さなくてもいいわけですね。
Well, he kind of does, because now he's the sole provider for the family.
そうですね。
サトシ君ってひなみ沢ファイターズ退部届とか出しちゃったん
So
です
does
か？
he know we're Shion now, or does he still think we're Mion?
そんなもの出てたんですか？私は受け取ってませんよ。マネージャーの園崎さんは？
受け取ってないです。
誰も退部届を受け取ってないな
Oh,
ら。
that's how it works.
ま、しばらくして生活が落ち着いたらまた戻ってきてくれるんじゃないかなって思ってます。
Oh, okay. 3 days have passed. My bad.
でもその時に園崎さんがいなか
Oh,
った
Bob,
ら
nobody's listening.
きっと悲しむだろうな。
Eri teased me. He's a grown-up after all. He must have been trying to sound optimistic because he knew I was feeling a bit down. Because I have 3 bandaged fingers.
園崎さんも落ち着いたらいつでもチームに帰ってきてください。あなたがいないとやっぱり寂しいですよ。園崎さんが帰ってきてくれたら、ぜ
Don't
ひ
be a
女子マネー
creepy
ジャーの制服
perv,
を
Doctor.
メ
Come
イドさん
on.
の格好にしようと思
If
って
you
ま
weren't
し
a
た。
creepy perv, you'd be my favorite character. I burst into laughter. Eri sure hadn't changed. Oh, what a kooky guy.
もう名乗ってもいいんだった。監督、今まで騙しててすみません。私、ミオンじゃないんです。シオンっていう双子の妹なんです。訳ありで、今までずっとミオンのふりしてきました。
Coach, I swear to God, if you're like, oh my gosh, 2 girls in maid outfits, I am going to punch the screen.
双子の妹さんですか？
He was totally taken aback. I burst into laughter again.
そうです。園崎シオンと言います。園崎本家に嫌われてるんで、あまり堂々と暮らせる立場じゃないんです
A
よ
lot of
ね。
people just say that, but Shion can actually mean it.
知らなかったですよ。まさかミオンさんに双子の妹さんがいたなんて。
1. Oh. Oh!
そりゃ全く同感
Thank
です。
God Uisi came here to save us from Coach's perverted fantasies. Suddenly, a loud voice interrupted us. The voice sounded mean and greasy, unlike Eri's. That's rude. It was him, Uisi.
入江先生も
Shion is going to hate Uisi because she's moving. If he hadn't tried to arrest him, I would reveal my identity. I wouldn't have to lose the fingernails.
先日は遅くまでありがとうございました。
いえ、何もお役に立てませんで申し訳ないです。
They were just going through the motions. I was counting down the coach being perverted, but it worked out for Uisi's appearance, so, you know, I'll take credit for that. It was obvious that they hated each other. That's the faces of people hating each other. Erie whispered to me.
私はもうここを離れますが、一緒に車に乗りま
No,
すか？
but I'll do it anyways.
お家まで送りますよ。
Erie figured that Uisi was after me, so he was giving me a chance to slip away. Looking at Uisi's face, it was clear that his focus was on me, not Erie. He probably intended to interrogate me until my testimony broke. I was sure I could talk my way out of it, but it'd just be a waste of time.
そうですね。じゃあ監督、そろそろ行きましょうか。
ありゃお二人で
Oh, you
ど
guys
ちらか
going
に
to
お出か
Hooters
けの
too?
途中でしたか
No, what a coincidence, so am I! I'm always going to Hooters.
ええ、チームのユース積み会用に景品を探しているところだ
Uisi's
ったん
gonna
で
be, I'm a
す。
huge fan of baseball. I'll come too.
他にも行くお店がたくさんありますので、この辺で私たちは失礼します。
Erie bowed. I followed suit. I had to admire how good he was at lying. He's a grown-up after all. Uisi seemed to know it was a lie. But he didn't have a warrant, so he couldn't stop us. I moved into Erie's car.
お怪我は大丈夫なんですか園崎シオンさん
You? I gasped when I heard that. My left hand was bandaged. It was unsightly, so I kept it in my pocket. There was no way Uisi could have been able to see it.
可能さえしなきゃ綺麗に治りますよ
How do you know this?
私も子供の頃は何度か爪を剥いじゃったことがありましたがねほら綺麗なも
What
んで
did
し
you
ょ
do to tear your fingernails off? I was playing in the Sonozaki's torture bunker.
男の爪が綺麗でも気色悪いだけです。
Okay, Shion, I know he asked a weird question, but you don't have to be weird in return. Uisi scratched his head and chuckled. He's supposed to be one of the best cops at Okinomiya PD, and he knows all about the underground activities in the region. He must have heard about my payment from somewhere. Still, that happened in the secret basement of the Sonozaki main house. Yeah, but he's wiretapped it. I couldn't underestimate this guy's sources.
お見舞い、感謝感
I
激
wonder
で
if
す。
Mion is one of his sources.
じゃあもう行きますね。失礼します。
Or if the mom is. That would be cool.
園崎シオンさん私とコーヒーでも飲みに行きません
No.
はあ？何それ？私を口説いてんですか？
He's, yes, but that's not the point.
そういうことでもいいですよ
遠慮します。一日は有限、24時間。わざわざ退屈なことに費やすなんて馬鹿げてますか
Way
ら。
to shut him down.
Oh my
She's actually kind of being polite. I would just be come back with a warrant.
じゃあこうしましょう私とのおしゃべりが退屈になったらいつでも途中で帰っていいです
maybe that's just the ploy. Maybe Mion is his secret source, like inside, and they purposefully act like they don't like each other so no one gets suspicious.
引き止めませんそういう約束でどうです
あんたが喋るのは勝手ですが、私は喋りませんよ。それをおしゃべりと呼べるかは怪しいですが。
ねえそれで
He's like, I don't need you to talk. I can just watch your facial expressions.
シオンさんは聞き役で結構です私が勝手に一方的に喋るだけあなたはコーヒーでも飲みながら中年親父の独り言を聞き
Well, how could I
話して
say
くださ
no
れ
to
ば
an
それで結構
opportunity like
です
that? He was being strangely persistent. It didn't look like he was trying to poke a hole in my statement. What were we even talking about? I got a bit curious, even though I was still skeptical.
監督、すみません。私、ちょっと大石のおじさまとデートに行こうと
Oh,
思いま
he's
す。
got her.
ミオじゃない。シオンさん？
I winked at him and told him not to worry. Erie didn't insist. He got in his car and drove off. I hate this guy. He's the worst. Chapter 1, she says that she should have killed him. Don't know how real that was because we were on Keiichi's point of view, though. That's true. I forgot about that. Keiichi was kind of completely nuts at the end of that, though. But then again, everybody was kind of completely nuts at the end of that. Mion actually did... Oh, wait, unless it was Shion at the end of Chapter 1. That could be. But, like, Rena was definitely nuts in that chapter. Keiichi was definitely nuts in that chapter. Uisi probably wasn't nuts in that chapter. I hopped in the back seat since I didn't want to sit next to him.
本当に喫茶店に行くの？
We going to Hooters.
あなたの親類の目がない喫茶店があるなら
Oh yeah, Hooters! We don't own the
紹介してもらえると
Hooters.
助かるんですがね
チェ、
それなら勝手に連行でも何でもすればいい。
Luisi carefully checked for oncoming traffic, then started driving. He's a safe driver. Luisi took me to the police station, as I thought he might. If he had taken me to a nice cafe, he would have scored some points. But whatever.
書の方が都合がいいと思ったから書にしただけです。私の話が退屈になったら帰っていいという約束はもちろん守りますから安心してください。
I'm taking you to the place with the best coffee in the city. He takes her to the police station.
ま、私を退屈させないように頑張ってくださいな。署内には腕組んで入ってあげましょうか、おじさま。
Luisi chuckled and got out of the car. He escorted me inside the station. We got her! Froze her in his jail cell. I thought he'd take me to the interrogation room, but instead he took me to the office of the investigation division. Officers in both suits and uniforms were working at their desks answering phones. There was a desk with a plate that said section manager, and nearby there were couches on a table. Luisi told me to wait on the couch and started making instant coffee. Only the best. I'd never been to this part of the police station. I looked around in curiosity.
まさか取調室でカツ丼でも食わされると思いました。
Kind of. Luisi brought over a tray with coffee cups on it.
想像してたより待遇が良くて驚いてます。三角木馬くらいは覚悟してたのに。
No, he's a little nicer than your family.
そういうのは私の趣味じゃないな。
Okay, I don't need to know that.
で、おしゃべりを聞かせてくれるんじゃなかったでしたっけ？
じゃあ最初からいきなり担当直入。
Luisi will score big points here if he's like, yeah, what your family did was effed and I want to bring him down.
シオンさんって北条聡さん。
Well, I kind of told my family I was.
はあ？速攻退屈なので即帰りますよ。
じゃあ今のはなしという。
I just needed the gossip. Luisi must have known why I had to remove my fingernails. He wasn't trying to confirm that I liked Satoshi-kun. What he was really saying was that he knew already.
サトシ君の事件当日のアリバイなら先日熊谷刑事さんに全部お話ししたつもりです。
もちろん私も熊谷君の調書は読んでます。あなたがサトシ君と一緒にいたことは知ってます。
何度聞かれたって同じ話しかしませんよ私。しつこく反復して聞いたらそのうちにボロを出すとか考えてるなら大甘もいいとこです。
まさかそんなこと考えてません。あなたは頭のいい人です。そんな手に引っかかるなんて思っちゃいません。
ならどういう手を考えてるやら。どちらにせよ私からサトシ君のことを何か聞き出そうとしてもそれは無駄なことです。先日お話しした以上のことは何もありません。ああ残念。やっぱり退屈な話でしたね。私帰らせてもらいます。そういう約束でしたからね。失礼します。
I got up off the couch.
シオンさん、確かに私はあなたからサトシさんのアリバイを聞こうと思っていました。それは認めますよ。
なら決まりです。やっぱり退屈でした。帰ります。
I turned around and started walking. Luisi didn't get anxious. Instead, he spoke a bit louder.
でもね、シオンさん。私が聞きたいのはサトシさんの事件当日のアリバイじゃない。昨日のアリバイなんです。
昨日？なんで昨日のアリバイなんかが聞かれるんですか？昨日のサトシ君のアリバイがおばさんが殺された事件とどう関係があるってんです？
昨日サトシ君が出かけたまま失踪されたからです。
What?
サトシ君が失踪されたことはご存知なかった？
Creepy music back. I couldn't say anything, but my expression answered Luisi's question anyway.
どういうことですか？失踪って何？
やっぱり座ったらどうです？
Yep, he disappeared.
サトシ君が失踪したって。
Oh,
何？
and she's gonna think her family did it 100%.
何？
一つ確実に分かっていることは、彼が3時
Oh
前
yeah!
に沖宮の郵便局で貯
To buy
金
the
を
teddy
全
bear.
額下ろしているということだ
But
け
they
です。
don't actually know if he bought the teddy bear. But he had to because he had the reservation slip, and the teddy bear's not there, so.
その後の足取りはつかめません。
I knew why he withdrew that money. He wanted to buy Satoka's birthday present. Yes, he definitely bought that teddy bear yesterday, but he didn't give it to her because she doesn't have it in present day.
これは私の想像ですよ。彼はひょっとしてそのお金でどっか遠くに蒸発したんじゃないかなって。
And Shion's gonna be mad that he left without saying goodbye to her and not that he abandoned his sister.
逃走資金だってんですか？バッカバカしい。あのお金はね、サトコの誕生日プレゼントを買うためにサトシ君が貯めていたんです。それであのおもちゃ屋にあったでかくて高いぬいぐるみを買ったんです。逃走に使うお金になんかなるわけないです。
確かにあのおもちゃ屋から一番高いぬいぐるみが売れていました。
It was sold to me. I bought it.
でもね、それをサトシ君が買った確証が取れないんです。
店の人に聞けばそんなのわかりますって。私とサトシ君で買う予約までしてるんですから。
Uh-oh, I had a bad feeling. That old man who was watching the store was sleeping when we were there. He looked very senile. Maybe he was also watching that store on that day, and even though Satoshi-kun bought the teddy bear, he didn't remember. At least he put on a wry smile. It looked like he'd already tried to question that old man.
とにかくあれを買ったのはサトシ君なんです。サトシ君はぬいぐるみの金額ギリギリしかお金がなかったはずだから、ぬいぐるみ代を支払ってさらに逃亡資金を用意できたなんて思えません。めちゃめちゃもいいとこです。
いいですよ。じゃあサトシ君がぬいぐるみを買ったことでもいいです。じゃあそのぬいぐるみを持ってどうして帰らなかったんですか？
At that point, I felt as though my heart had turned to ice. Satoshi-kun had been working hard to buy the teddy bear even though he was under extreme mental and physical stress. After all that, he finally managed to buy it. It's unthinkable that somebody else just showed up and bought the same teddy bear. The teddy bear was gone because Satoshi-kun bought it. Nobody else. But if so, Satoshi-kun should have given it to Satoko. Unless he got kidnapped on the way back. But, though he bought a present for her, he didn't come home. He didn't come home? That wasn't possible. He would have gone straight home with that teddy bear. He wouldn't have think of running away after buying the teddy bear. Even though Satoshi-kun wanted to run away from the police, he'd never leave without giving Satoko her present. Anyway, it must have been Satoshi-kun who bought the teddy bear. I can say that with 100% certainty. The question was, why didn't he bring it home? That teddy bear was huge. It wouldn't fit into the basket of a bicycle. He might have bought some straps to tie it to his bike. He wouldn't have thought of running away on a wobbly bicycle like that. He necessarily had to go home after buying the teddy bear from the store after withdrawing the money. Nothing could have happened when he was going between the ATM and the toy store. It was impossible. Nobody else could have possibly bought the teddy bear. Never! That teddy bear had been sitting in the showcase up until that day. Everybody could see it when they passed by, but nobody wanted it. It's impossible that it could have been somebody else. There should be no question that he went to the toy store after he withdrew the money. What about the route between the toy store and his home? There shouldn't be any question there either. He shouldn't have been able to do anything with that huge toy. He shouldn't have even thought about making a stop on the way. So he must have headed home right after he bought the teddy bear. But nobody saw him after that. It was simple then. Satoshi-kun went missing on his way home from the toy store. He went missing? What did that mean? I was sure he killed his aunt. It's not that shrewd. He's not that shrewd. Maybe he couldn't bear the pressure from the police? Was he resigned to the idea that the police were going to arrest him soon, regardless of my help? Did he decide to run away? Did he think that he should disappear until things cooled down rather than get arrested? That was definitely absolutely impossible. It was impossible that he came to that conclusion on his way home from the toy store. Even if he did, he would have waited until he gave Satoko her birthday present. Satoshi-kun loved Satoko. He shouldn't have spoiled her like that, but anyway, he always tried to be a good brother to her. So he'd never disappear before going home. I felt as though the ice was cutting through my heart, expanding the frost. If Satoshi-kun didn't disappear by his own will, the answer was simple. Satoshi-kun disappeared by somebody else's will. This is like exactly... This is exactly Keiichi's thought process, too, in like all the other cases. I thought I could shake off the frost in my heart if I laughed loudly enough. I kept laughing until it happened, but then he looked at me like I was a crazy person. I kept laughing and laughing. All the cops in the room stared at me. They thought I'd gone crazy. You have. I didn't care what they thought. I kept laughing until it turned into a cough. I finished laughing and took a sip of the lukewarm coffee. This coffee sucks! I felt as though the frost in my heart had spread all the way throughout my guts. It chilled me to the bone. I was freezing. My fingers shook as I held the coffee cup.
シオンさん、ちょっと口を挟まずに聞いててほしいんです。これから私がちょいと想像した話を申し上げます。全部でっちゃう。It's a
theory. A game theory.
だからきっとシオンさんはあまりのいい加減な内容に吹き出しちゃいそうになるかもしれません。それでも最後まで黙って聞いていてほしいんです。
You ask a great deal. I accept.
約束してもらえます？
いや、約束なんて何でもするから。早く言いなさいよ。
I was feeling far too cold. My teeth were chattering. I felt as though my brain had frozen as well. I lost my ability to think. I couldn't do anything by myself. I could only do as Oishi told me. What was he going to tell me might be the worst possible theory, but I had to listen to it.
死んだおばがサトシ君とサトコさんをいじめていたことはよーく聞いています。中でもサトコさんを必要にいじめていたこともね。その中でサトシ君が妹をかばうためにおばに殺意を募らせていったとしても、私は人として自然な流れだと思います。
I had to deny that Satoshi-kun murdered her, but what Oishi was saying was true. I couldn't deny his hypothesis right away. I'll just keep silent.
ここからは空想ですよ。絶対に怒らないでください。
Yeah, the soundtrack is on point to this chapter.
口を挟むのもなし。いいですね。
わかってるから。早く続けなさいよ。
Oh, I love that part. Oh, I love that part of the song.
北条聡はおば殺しを計画し実行した。ねえ、もちろん証拠なんてありませんよ。全部私の妄想です。
わかってるって。あんたの妄想なのは百も承知。だから早く続けて。
Heck yes, this song is good.
シオンさん、あなたはサトシ君との交際を禁じられたんですよね。
You could say that.
もう忘れろ。二度と関わるなと念をされたんですよね。それは実は不仲な両家の関係を意味嫌ったからでなく、殺人犯と園崎家の令嬢が恋仲であることに問題があったんじゃないかと思ったんです。
Yeah, I don't think that's it. Because there are Yakuza members in their family, alright? That is actually possible. After all, when I was pretending to be Mion, I already had a connection with Satoshi-kun. Before anyone knew it was Shion who was spending time around him. I could have been accused when I was helping out the Hinamizawa fighters if the relationship between the Hojos and the Sonozakis was the problem. It wouldn't be difficult for the Sonozaki family to know that Satoshi-kun murdered his aunt if it happened in Hinamizawa. Maybe one of them even saw the murder. The Sonozaki family didn't like that I was in love with a murderer. They decided to step in and force you to remove your fingernails because they're that good.
あなた、諦めが悪いことでも知られてるんじゃないですか。つまり、園崎本家にサトシ君との縁を切れと脅されて、サトシ君との縁を切りかねていましたよね。
I couldn't deny that. I lost most of my means to access Hinamizawa, so my ties to Satoshi-kun were essentially cut, true. But I still knew Satoshi-kun's phone number, and I expected him to rejoin the Hinamizawa fighters eventually.
園崎本家はサトシ君とあなたの縁はちょっと脅しただけじゃ絶対に切れないと分かっていたと思います。あなたをいくら脅してもどうにもならない。じゃあもう一人の方をどうにかするしかないですよね。
どうにかって何？
Kidnap!
どうにかって何よ？何？
If threatening me was useless then, they'd do something about Satoshi-kun. What would they have done? If they pulled something, then wouldn't that interrupt his path from the toy store to home? Toy store to home? Toy store to X to home. What's X? What is X? X marks the spot where his path was interrupted. X is the 24th letter of the alphabet, Shion. But what interrupted it? Why couldn't Satoshi-kun make it home from the toy store if something interrupted him? Why? What's X? X! It's like she's solving an algebra problem. I ran out of air, became dizzy, and then collapsed. The floor felt cold. I felt no pain. I had fallen to the floor like a plastic doll. Uisi and some others rushed over to me and helped me up.
落ち着いてシオンさん。サトシ君が殺されたとはまだ限りません。
You're not certain he was killed? What the fuck are you talking about? Don't you know about the torture room where they forced me to rip off my fingernails? Don't you know that they say there are prison cells and a well for disposing the corpses in the back? If the Sotozaki family wants to eliminate someone, they definitely kill them in the torture room, then dump the body back there. You're not certain? Are you dumb? And it's funny because that's what Shion did to Satoko and Rika and, I think one other person. And the mayor's body in, chapter 2. Is your brain made of tofu? You must have pudding where your brain should be. If I were in the hag's position, I'd kill him for sure. I wouldn't let him get away. If I could kill him, then the hag would definitely kill him.
シオンさん、落ち着いて。これはまだ未確認情報ですが、名古屋駅で家出人風の若者を見たという情報が入っています。東京行きの新幹線に乗ったそうです。服装の特徴などが一致しませんでしたが、警察の追跡等を意識して衣替えをしている可能性もあります。
He only has one white polo shirt.
服装が違うからサトシ君でないとは言い切れませんよ。
生きてるの？サトシ君。
ここからもまた私の想像になりますがね。あなたの双子のお姉さんのミヨンさん、次期当主ということで園崎お涼の身近にいますよね。園崎お涼はおそらく最初はサトシ君をこっそり殺してしまおうと提案したと思います。それをあなたのお姉さんが止めたんじゃないかと思うんです。
Shion? That was possible. She could have tried to calm things down out of pity for me. She's also friends with Satoshi, so that idiot was always so indecisive. She should have been clear if she wanted to save him or not, but she probably seemed vague about that. She must have persuaded the hag to reduce the punishment to banishment instead of death, just to avoid feeling guilty.
おそらく園崎本家はサトシ君と接触したでしょう。今回の事件はかばいきれない。だから自分の身は自分で守るためにどこかへ姿を隠せと忠告したはずです。いや、強要したと言った方が似合うでしょうね。
Maybe.
サトシ君は絶対拒否すると思います。だってあのサトシ君が妹を一人残してひなみ沢を離れられるわけがない。
私もそう思います。確かサトシ君は園崎美音さんの紹介でバイトをしてましたよね。だからサトシ君に逃走資金になるまとまったお金があることを知っていたと思います。
でもサトシ君はそのお金をぬいぐるみを買う以外には絶対に使わないはずです。
でしょうね。サトシ君は貯金を下ろしたら迷うことなくおもちゃ屋に向かうでしょう。でもサトシ君がおもちゃ屋にたどり着くと、もうぬいぐるみが売れてしまっていて、なくなっていたの。
That would have been a very desolate situation. He'd been working hard. While his aunt abused him, he worked at many different jobs. The money was worth all that pain. He went to the toy store with that money in order to buy his beloved sister a present. That was the only purpose for that money. He must have looked for the teddy bear as he'd always done. But it was gone. He would have gone into a panic right away, because he was always so optimistic. He might have thought that the store was wrapping the gift for him because he told them that he'd pick it up that day. He must have gone to the toy store joyously. I couldn't guess exactly what happened next. My heart would tear up if I tried to imagine it anyway. Why they have it, even though he had it reserved. Did that old man understand the situation, or was he just zoning out? Maybe it would have been the same even if it wasn't the old man who was at the store at that time. If a bunch of fierce-looking subordinates from the Sonozaki family went in and showed them the money, nobody could have rejected it. Satoshi-kun must have sunk into silence. No matter how hard he complained, the teddy bear was gone. He probably never even considered that his dream might be taken away. He must have been wobbling his way home in sorrow, leaning on the telephone poles every now and then. It was that day he wanted Satoko to be happy the most. He couldn't get the present she wanted the most. He probably didn't think of getting another gift, because it was unimaginable that he couldn't get that teddy bear. He might have imagined how Satoko would react when she found out that he had no present for her. He must have looked unbelievably sad and empty. The money he'd been saving meant nothing anymore. Satoshi-kun never cried, even at his toughest moments. Did he even know how to cry? It was always Satoko who was crying. So Satoshi-kun never learned how to cry, and he grew up that way. Did you know? People shed sadness from their hearts with tears. Satoshi-kun wasn't allowed to even do that. Even though his heart was filled with sorrow, he couldn't let it out.
妹を一人残してひなみ沢を離れられないと言いました
The
ね。
frog was still there. He could have gotten the frog.
でももしも園崎本家が残った聡子さんの面倒は見るって言ってあったとしたらどう思います？
After Satoshi-kun found out the teddy bear was gone, all he had left were some crumpled bills. The family told him it was just a matter of time before the police got to him. They told him to run away. They said they'd take care of Satoko. Satoshi-kun didn't feel like seeing his sister. He wandered and found himself at Okinomiya Station. He must have been apologizing to Satoko so many times in his mind. He swore to come back someday. He headed to Nagoya and then to Tokyo. But that meant he's alive. He's alive. I should be able to see him again someday. He must be coming back, so I'll definitely see him again.
そうしてずっと遠方に隠れ家か受け入れ先を用意してくれたんじゃない
Do
か
they
と。
really have that much reach even outside of the Hinamizawa area?
サトシ君はそこを目指したのでしょう。
じゃあ無事なんだ。いつか帰ってくるんです
He
よね。
is, because we're arresting him for his aunt's murder. Uisi looked up at the ceiling and stretched. He didn't answer me. On June 24th, 1982, Satoshi Hojo went missing. There is a possibility that he ran away, as he was the prime suspect of the murder that happened on the 20th of the same month. Allegedly, someone resembling him was seen at Nagoya Station, embarking on a train heading to Tokyo, but the truth is unknown. No one has seen him since. As a matter of fact, no one even knows if he's still alive. Higurashi when they cry. The mystery builds and builds and builds. We get 2 notebook pages this time. Achievement unlocked. The train to nowhere had a dear friend go missing. Surprised the achievement wasn't related to a nail pun. Alright, notebook page 34. Alright, we're going into the creepy music immediately. The information that Satoshi-kun might have headed to Tokyo hasn't been verified. It started as follows. A young man came to the lost and found window looking for his wallet. The station employee asked him to write down his name on the form. Then the young man started writing Hojo as his name, but he stopped on the middle, crumpled the form, and wrote a totally different name on another form. Another station employee witnessed a similar-looking young man rushing into the train heading to Tokyo. The employee from the Lost and Found, and the employee who was on the platform, talked about the suspicious young man in the locker room. That was all. The wallet of the man named Hojo was never reported as found to the Lost and Found office. Ooh. Interesting. At first I thought Uisi's theory that the Sonozaki family banished Satoshi-kun from Hinamizawa and looked after Satoko in return was bogus. But thinking about it now, it doesn't seem too far-fetched. After all, Satoko Hojo started living with Rika Furade after Satoshi-kun's disappearance. Rika Furade isn't just a regular girl. She was the head of the Furade family, one of the 3 families. The head of the Kimiyoshi family is Rika Furade's guardian. The Sonozaki family probably couldn't step in due to having been officially opposed to the Hojo family, but Satoko Hojo is in the custody of the 3 families now. Even though the Hojo family was severely ostracized during the dam conflict, Satoko Hojo was now under their protection. It seems as though only Satoko was exempted from blame. Why was she spared even though Satoshi-kun wasn't? It's an interesting point. But it's probably a bit too late for me to actually process this anymore. There we go. End of chapter 7. We went through with one additional chapter this time. So let's go, let's go, let's go. All right. Well, a bit of a longer stream than usual, but we're going to wrap things up now. Thanks for joining and chatting, everybody. It's always fascinating playing this, and I'm glad we didn't have to end on the horrible fingernail scene. I'm glad we got to go a little further. Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard this week, we will be continuing Higurashi When They Cry, because I want to wrap this up within the next 2 weeks, and we're going to need some extra streams to do that. So make sure you tune in. It should be, well, maybe not fun times, but it should be intriguing nonetheless. All right. Have a great night, everybody, and God bless.